that we've had. Like every day is cold. I can't remember a winter where every day was cold. It's like I'm living in Minnesota here. But we'll continue to push on here because we're still in the glow. And there are so many other little angles we could talk about when it comes to the Philadelphia Eagles. And one of the angles that thought of today to discuss was what the Eagles have now set up here. There's a story saying that the Eagles are the best Super Bowl team of the 21st century. That's high praise. Now, we've already discussed they're the best Eagles team in franchise history. The best Super Bowl team in the 21st century has expectations to create some kind of a dynasty of sorts. And I do believe the Eagles have that chance. We talked about it yesterday, and we fretted a little bit about what they have to do to keep it going. And I had the opinion that they don't really have a lot to keep it going. Their base is so solid and so strong that all you have to do is, you add some branches and some small branches, and you can keep this thing going for a really long time. You've got the key components solid in there. You've got the offensive and defensive line. Now, the offensive line has to change a little bit, and you're going to have attrition eventually, but right now they're still solid if you replace one player who may go in free agent. The defensive line in the middle is where they had the most success. That's going to be there for a really long time. They got a franchise quarterback. They got a franchise running back. Their wide receivers are still fairly young. I mean, I can't imagine that this team could fall on its face next year. Like a lot of Super Bowl teams you see win the Super Bowl or go to the Super Bowl, and then they fall off the cliff the next year. I just don't see this with the Philadelphia Eagles. That being said, how does it affect the other teams in this town? When you have a team like the Eagles, that's a dominant team, that is monopolizing the attention from the fan base, your business suffers unless you try to keep up a little bit. Now, the closest team to keep up is the Philadelphia Phillies. And we'll start talking about the Phillies because they've got spring training going today. But still, I look at the Phillies and there's some doubts about whether they can get to that lofty height. The Sixers and the Flyers are really in a bad spot because the Eagles are so good. Bill Colarulo's with us. Ray Dunn is with us. Bill, do you believe that the other teams in the city have now this incredible pressure on them because the Eagles, and I dare mention the word, dynasty?
Yeah, we're a little ways away from the dynasty discussion. I think we got to win another one.
I don't think we are.
I think we got to win another one.
I don't think we are. If you look at this team and people are saying it's one of the best in the 21st century, since 2000, it's the best Super Bowl team ever. They still have the components. This could be a dynasty.
It could be. You're right. It could be.
Don't be cautious for me today.
But I don't think
you're being cautious.
I don't think you're there yet. There's a reason why it's so difficult to repeat in the NFL.
Right. Did he just say that? He's speaking like Sirianni.
Look,
He's
wanted
the
to
coach
be
at the podium now. He's saying, let your hair down a little bit. Let your hair grow out a little bit.
I know. I'm in the awkward grow back stage. Now, look, I want it to be a dynasty, and you're right. They certainly have a nucleus that can continue to succeed. But the question you asked about what this does to the other teams, when it comes to the Flyers and the Sixers, they are dangerously close to people just ignoring them at this point because they're nowhere near championship level. But when it comes to the Phillies, I do think that there is pressure at an all-time high because even if the Eagles had not won the Super Bowl this past season, the way that the last two postseasons for the Phillies went, there would have been a ton of pressure on them to succeed. Their core is not getting younger. The Eagles have a very young core. The Phillies core is not getting younger. They've been together now. They've had a few opportunities. And when you look at the National League, it looks like some other teams are starting to pass them by. I think the pressure is at an all-time high because of what the Eagles did and because of where the Phillies are after the last two disappointments and with the age of their nucleus. And it's going to be interesting, Mike, because when the regular season comes for the Phillies, are the fans going to be as excited with the early success if they have it? Or is it going to be, you know what, wake us up in October? You know, we've seen this story before. Okay, what, you're going to win 95 games and lose in the first round? So I think that the Phillies, it's going to be an interesting season because I think everyone's just going to be focused on What are you going to do in October? We don't care about the regular season.
I'm not so sure I agree with that. I think the fan base is going to be refreshed with this Philly season because of the way it ended last year. I don't think that they're going to have to say, let's get through the regular season and the only thing that matters is winning the World Series. I think that fans are going to be really engaged on how this team bounces back. And that means they're going to be engaged early in the season. Whereas, frankly, they have to be engaged. There's nothing else to be engaged about. People have to be invested in the Phillies, and it's the regular season, and especially early in the season, I think counts a lot.
Well, I think people will be invested. So maybe I misspoke. I think people will be invested, but what they're not going to be is last season when we were saying early, this is the greatest baseball team we've ever seen in the history of Major League Baseball. No one's going to say that again, no matter how much regular season success they have, because all that matters is October now. We've had successful seasons.
Did they say that last year?
People were cited on this station, man,
really?
that it was the best baseball team they've ever seen, as far as maybe in this city. Maybe I'm exaggerating saying Major League Baseball. But the start that they had, it was hard to argue with people. They had an unbelievable start to last season where it was one of the best baseball teams you've ever seen. I don't know if people are going to feel that way and be that excited. They'll be invested. We'll watch. I'll be watching because there's nothing else that's going to be on when it comes to sports. But are you really going to get that high when they're winning games? You're going to be, oh, man, this team's definitely going to win it. People are going to be nervous because of the way the last two postseasons went.
Yeah, but you can't see. You're really putting yourself on a griddle if you do that. It's such a long season. What are you going to have, angst from the start of April?
I don't think it's angst. I just don't think people are going to get too high like they did last year. The joy that we had in this city watching that baseball team before the All-Star break was at an all-time high. I don't think no matter, even if they duplicate that level of regular season success early, I don't think you're going to have fans going all in saying that this team's going to win a World Series like we were doing last year because we've been disappointed. And I know Ray said this is Posidelphia now because the Eagles went in the Super Bowl. Well, I don't think they're going to look at the Phillies that way.
It's half Philadelphia. There are two teams out of the four.
Yeah, half Philadelphia.
It's really half Philadelphia right now. But again, the other teams, the Flyers and the Sixers, are in danger of their fan base losing interest because of the other teams. Like the Eagles already are the Kings. I think the Phillies really could be close to that this summer because of their pitching staff. I think it's going to be a delight to watch their pitchers really overmatch almost everybody they play.
Especially if
in a long series.
I mean, is there a chance that Andrew Painter's on this roster before the end of the season too? I mean, that would make the starting rotation even deeper.
But do you really need him?
Like, you may not Painter, with Luzardo now.
That's what I mean. It's like Andrew Painter. Where's Andrew Painter? I can't wait till Andrew Painter. Where's he fit? I don't know where he fits. Somebody's got to fall on their face for him to fit. And the only guy I can see fall on his face is Ranger Suarez.
Well, look, Suarez hit a wall last year. But you saw it last season, and we had this debate many times on the station about them not having a fifth starter that could fill in. Injuries can occur. I mean, Ranger had to be shut down at times last year. So you may see Painter before the end of the year. But I'm with you. If this team's going to have sustained success, I think it's all going to be because of that starting rotation. That should be a lot deeper this year. I mean, simply, I didn't love the offseason the Phillies had, but simply replacing Luzardo for Walker, that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, we're going to talk some Phillies today as well. We're going to talk actually every team today. But it's only because the Eagles have created this climate in this town of superiority where everybody is now, like, trying to climb up this ladder to get to them. It's like, and they're slipping off, and then they kind of climb again, and then they slip off, too, and climb again. It's a really weird dynamic here in town. So we'll talk about it. And also, I finally want to get to this list that I've been compiling in my head about Daryl Morey's 10 biggest mistakes to create this kind of a season.
Oh, boy.
610-632-09. It was really rather easy for me to come up with the 10.
I would think it'd be hard to cut it down to 10.
Yeah, 610-632-0975 is how you get into the show today. It'll be like I call this one like an all-purpose show.
I like it.
Sometimes you got to have an all-purpose show. This is going to be one of them.
It's the Edmundo Sosa of Sports Talk Radio.
The new center fielder?
Potentially. You saw that.
How's that? How does Rojas feel about that?
It just shows they don't have
count so much on Rojas, they got to flip a utility infielder to center field. Mike Missanelli Show continues after this. Fanatic, I'm looking at the top 100 baseball players. I certainly don't want to get away from football talk, but we can talk football till, as they say,
the cows come home.
Yes. I never knew what that meant.
I'm going to look that up because I don't know what it means either.
The cows have to come from the field back into the barn, but it takes a long time.
Is that what it is? Because it takes long?
Yeah, I think so, until the cows come home. It's like, the cows venture.
Yeah, it says here, the phrase comes from the idea of cows returning to their shelters at an unhurried pace. It was used in the 19th century and appeared in print in 1829.
Yeah. There you go. See?
There we go. You learn everything on this show.
Yeah. All right, so they ranked the top 100 players. So if you want to go by the top 100 players to judge who's the best in the National League East, you want to do that? You want to play around with that?
Well,
all right, the
I
Phillies
do, but it's not going to make us feel good.
The Phillies have 5.
In the top 100.
Yeah, top 100. None in the top 10.
None in the top 10.
But that's okay. They've got Harper at 12. They've got Wheeler at what, 18 or 19?
Wheeler's at 19.
And then it's who's next?
Trey at 35.
Trey.
He's at 35.
Yeah. And then
you got Kyle Schwarber down at 65.
Okay.
JT Realmuto all the way down at 80.
Something. Maybe he dropped.
He's all the way at 80.
But he's still in the top 100.
Yeah, but if you look at some of the
all right, hold on a second.
Dodgers and Mets, man.
Oh, forget the Dodgers. Let's look at the Mets.
All right, just the East.
They only have 4 in the top 100.
Yeah, but they got one of them in the top 5.
2 of them in the top 10.
Yeah.
All right. So what are you looking for in a baseball team? Are you looking for depth, or are you looking for a couple stars?
I think that.
Well, how many Mets pitchers are in the top 100?
Are there any?
How about 0?
Yeah, no pitchers.
All right, so they got Soto and Lindor.
I love Lindor, though, man. I mean, I hate him because he's on the Mets, but I love that guy as a player.
He had a crappy season 2 years ago. Last year had a decent season.
What he did...
It took him 3 years to regain roots.
Yeah, but I don't think he's
Stop praising the Mets, all right?
Now's the time to praise
This is not the exercise to praise the Mets. The Braves, surprising. They have 6 in the top 100. Are we shortchanging the Braves?
And honestly, I feel like Acuna could be higher if it's just coming off an injury.
He's coming off an injury, so they got him ranked 16th, right?
Yeah, last year he was number 1.
So the Braves have 6. The Mets have 4 with 2 in the top 10. The Phillies have 5 with Harper close to the top 10. I think that's a wash.
You may be right. But I don't know, man. I think the Phillies have better pitching. Right? Would you put the Phillies pitching above the Braves?
How many Braves pitchers are in the top 100?
I don't know if they have any.
None.
Chris Sale.
Oh, Sale's in.
Oh, that's right, Sale.
Oh, that makes him. That's 7.
Yeah,
I miss Sale. That's 7. Are the Braves a sleeper team here?
Some people think that they are, especially because they had players who had down years last year. They had injuries, obviously, with Acuna being out. The Braves are always good, man.
Look at this top 10, though, in Major League Baseball. It's pretty good. Ohtani, Judge, Witt, Soto, Betts. Holy crap. That's 5 really good players.
Yeah.
Lindor is 6th. Alvarez from the Astros, 7th. Freddie Freeman. How about that? At age 100, he's 8th. Jose Ramirez, a very underrated player in a market that nobody really cares about. And Gunnar Henderson from the Orioles, another under-the-radar player. Pretty good, man. That's a pretty good top 10. Baseball is loaded with talent.
It is, but what's frustrating is you got Ohtani on the Dodgers at number 1. Mookie Betts on the Dodgers at number 5. They have 2 of the top 5 players in baseball.
Nobody's going to beat the Dodgers. So let's just if I would come into this year, listen, I'm going to have fun with the baseball season. If I, for 1 second, think the Phillies could actually beat the Dodgers in the World Series, I'd be an idiot.
You mean in the National League, right? It would be the NLCS.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
In the National League.
Look, anything can happen in baseball. We've seen it, but you're right. The Dodgers look like they win the World Series, and all they do is go out and sign Snell, Scott, Yates.
Because everyone wants to play with them now, and especially the great Japanese players want to play with them. It's like they got a compatriot there.
Who's this Roki Sasaki? How good is he that they signed?
He's good. He's right. He's good, right?
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah. His nick.
How good is this rookie system?
Listen to his nickname.
He's
Baseball's happening again.
They're taking a chance on him. Bill.
Yeah, the monster of the Rewa era. Yeah, he's a stud.
Yeah.
The problem is that they can just spend and spend and spend. But it's interesting. It depends on who you listen to, because like Harper talks about how you got to let last year. You can't just flush all of it. You got to use it as kind of motivation. And then you got Castellanos, who's like, nah, no big deal.
Well, your first mistake is listening to him because he's such a weirdo that anything that comes out of his mouth is like, you know.
But dude, hold on, listen to this quote. Let me get this quote from Castellanos, because this just bothers me. We're asking the question about what this Super Bowl championship does to the Phillies. How much pressure does it put on them? And here's what you get from Nick Castellanos. I do think we have less pressure as a team this year, especially with everything the media said about us when we lost last year and we didn't really go out and make any crazy changes. So if we lose, you guys look smart, which is dope, right? But then if we win, it's like a happy surprise.
I love that
it's kind of a freeing place to play baseball. You know what I mean?
Love that he used dope.
Dude, is this guy serious? Is he trolling or is he being serious?
No, he's a weirdo. How many weird things have come out of his mouth?
Less pressure on them this year?
Yeah, well, that's one way of looking at it. I mean, I actually think he's got the right perspective because baseball is so weird, and he knows it's weird, and he's reflecting the weirdness of it by saying, well, "What do I know? How can I tell? Like baseball is so much. It's hot and cold, and pitcher versus hitter is like, how do I know how good we are? We're good. We have a good team. We're going to be a contender. Can I say that we're going to win it? No.
Yeah. So it says the start of the article. This is on NBC Sports. Nick Castellanos heard how the Phillies' early playoff exit was being discussed on talk radio and in the media. They're chokers. They aren't good enough. The window is closing. But his reaction probably wasn't what you expect. It didn't piss him off. It was liberating. Come on, man. Seriously. Like, what do you want us to talk about? Like, that to me is taking a shot at sports talk. Like, you lost to an inferior team 2 years in a row in the postseason with home field advantage. So what do you want us to say? Go get them next year. This isn't the Midwest. Yeah, good effort there, Nick and the Phils. You got, what is it, the third highest payroll in baseball? Where are they at now? I mean, of course we're going to say that they're choking and that their window is closing because that's reality. I don't know. I used to get on Castellanos, and then I got off a little bit because he had a good season. But these types of comments bother me. They bother me.
All right. But, I don't know.
You're about to read us 10 things that Daryl Morey's done.
No, later. That's going to be later. I'm just
saying,
like,
this stuff
when it
bothers
comes
me.
to baseball, I go, it's such a long season. So many things, weird things can happen. You could have a good team all set up and still not win. Because then it comes down to a condensed window of you having to win 4 games. And it's really tough to do that against good pitching if you're in hitting slumps or you're mentally out of it like the Phillies have been. All right, 610-632-0975. On the other side, our pal Pete Prisco is on the morning show. I want to play what he had to say about our accusations that he's an Eagles hater and how he ranked the Eagles and all this stuff. That's coming up after this. Mike Missanelli Show continues.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Who's the next OC? I'm Ray Dunn with this Fanatic Sports Update. As the Eagles return to business following the Super Bowl, their first order of business will be bringing a new offensive coordinator after Kellen Moore's departure to New Orleans to be the Saints head coach. Jeff McClain of the Philadelphia Inquirer told Kincade and Salciunas last week that the team may look internally to fill that position.
And he'll certainly get the interview. I know that there's internal support for him. There's a lot of people in that building that like him and want him to get that job. That being said, Jeff and Howie are going to oversee this.
He's talking about Kevin Patullo, one of the coaches on staff, the right-hand man for Nick Sirianni, as Kellen Moore might be looking to take a few more Eagles coaches with him to New Orleans. Reportedly looking to interview both quarterbacks coach Doug Nussmeier, running backs coach Jamal Singleton for his offensive coordinator job, and defensive backs coach Christian Parker for his defensive coordinator job. Phillies had their first workout as a full team yesterday, but no Bryce Harper, Aaron Nola both out with illness at that one yesterday as they continue spring training down there in Clearwater. NHL, NBA remain on breaks as the NHL. Right now, the Four Nations face-off going on, and the NBA All-Star Game was over the weekend. This update is brought to you by Electrical Workers Local 269 and the Electrical Training Alliance, the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers. Local 269 will be accepting applications starting January 1st until March 31st at IBEW269.com. I'm Ray Dunn on the home of the 76ers and the Flyers, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Off against the final boss who stands between you and your refund. Watching him crumble into a giant pile of shiny coin tax refunds.
Oh, not fair. You use Tax Slayer.
People want to talk some baseball, and we'll get to everybody because I want to talk some baseball today as well. But Pete Prisco from CBS Sports, we were talking about his story the other day where he actually wrote about
it was a video.
quarterbacks. It was a video.
Yeah, it's actually a clip.
He ranked quarterbacks above Hurts, and obviously he ranked the top four, but he also ranked Justin Herbert, Trevor Lawrence, Zach Prescott, Jaden Daniels. All right, I can. Baker Mayfield. Come on, dude. It's so ridiculous. And so he was on the morning show trying to explain his rationale for that. Let's just play a couple of these. Let's play the first one where he sets the whole thing up, where he says Hurts is a good quarterback. Pete Prisco, 4, but a lot of his success should be credited to other teammates.
The bottom line is he's a good quarterback. Nobody's saying he's not a good quarterback. They asked me who I would take for the next 5 years, and that's who I would take. I would take Justin Herbert over Jalen Hurts for the next 5 years. I would take Trevor Lawrence over Jalen Hurts for the next 5 years. Now, come back and revisit that. I could be wrong. But you got to admit, the Philadelphia Eagles offensive line makes things a hell of a lot easier for everybody.
And look. All right. It's idiotic. Really. With offensive line or not, you saw a performance in the Super Bowl, and you saw a performance in the NFC Championship game where he made all these plays that an elite quarterback should make. So for you to say nonsense like that is just like, it's so absurd that I can't even get angry about it. It's laughable what he says. So let's now go over why he would take Trevor Lawrence over Hurts. And he gets pushed back here by the boys.
Here's what it's based on. In the last, he's had 4 different systems, 3 different head coaches in the last.
So has Jalen.
Yeah.
So is Jalen Hurts.
Well, he's had the same head coach, basically, the last couple of years.
Who doesn't call plays?
Okay, but he doesn't call the plays. That's all right.
Oh, come on. Sirianni's involved in that offense.
But he doesn't call the plays, Pete. He's not the guy. If you're going to use that excuse for Trevor Lawrence, you can't use it and not use it for Jalen Hurts.
Injuries have been a major factor for Trevor Lawrence. Now whether that's on him or whatever, he shouldn't have played at the end of last season. He did. He shouldn't have. This year, he went out for a bunch of games. He's been hurt. The offensive system was poor. And you guys, anybody who knows Doug Peterson's system, you didn't love it in Philadelphia either. I can guarantee you that. Mm-hmm. Also, his offensive line has been leaky, and that's being kind. So there's a lot of reasons for why Trevor Lawrence hasn't played as well as I think he's going to play in the next 5 years. There's a reason he was the first overall pick in the draft. There's a lot of things that play there, and we'll know more about Trevor Lawrence. Look, if Trevor Lawrence doesn't have a good season with Liam Cohen in that offense this year, then I'll come back to it and say, hey, you know what? You guys were right. But until then, I believe in the guy. I still think he's going to be a big-time NFL quarterback.
All right. So, I don't want to, I don't want to be offended like the provincial sports talk host, because I don't do that at all. But this guy's stupid. Really, it sounds ridiculously stupid that he would take Trevor Lawrence over Hurts. He's making up stuff.
He is making up stuff, and then to make the excuse that Lawrence has been in multiple systems, and then discount the fact that Jalen Hurts has done the exact same thing. Oh, well, Nick Sirianni's involved. Oh, now Sirianni's involved, right? Now Sirianni's involved. Before it was, Nick Sirianni doesn't do anything. Look, I said to you, and I know he's on a national station, CBS, the timing of this video that he puts out a week after Jalen Hurts is named Super Bowl MVP, a week after Jalen Hurts outperforms Patrick Mahomes again in the Super Bowl, to me, this is clickbait, man. There's no other explanation.
I don't think it is. I think he actually believes that. I really think he believes that. I don't think he's trying to be clickbait.
There's no other explanation.
Yeah, and if you believe that and you cover the league, you're an idiot.
Yeah. Yeah, so either he's an idiot or a liar, but both of them aren't good.
All right. I mean, come on, dude.
It's crazy, man.
All right, the last one. It's a quick one.
What's this one?
Pete Prisco, 2. He's in a group of good quarterbacks, but not elite. Here it is.
He's a good player. He's in the group with the same guys. They're all in the same guys. He's not, there's only a certain amount of elite quarterbacks in the National Football League. Then there's a group of a bunch of guys that are all together.
Yeah, but he's not. Jalen Hurts has 1A. The tier he has is 1A right now. The 4 guys that are ahead of him, I don't think anybody would argue that some would. And I think that's ridiculous to think that you would rather have Hurts over Mahomes or Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson or Joe Burrow. I think that's silly if you would say something like that, even if you're an Eagle fan who thinks he's objective.
You say it, and I understand the point that you're making. Now, look, Mahomes is on a level all to himself. I know Hurts has outplayed him, but Mahomes is on a level to himself. But when we talk about Lamar and Burrow and Josh Allen, as I sit here now, and maybe it's just recency bias,
It is.
but would you really right now, if you had the opportunity, the Buffalo Bills called, the Ravens called, or the Bengals called and said, we will trade you straight up right now for Jalen Hurts.
In a flat second.
But why?
In a flat second.
The guy doesn't lose,
Because
Mike.
those four quarterbacks.
But the guy doesn't lose.
Those four quarterbacks wouldn't lose with the Eagles either.
Basically, but that's a hypothetical that we don't know.
They all have better skill sets than Hurts, and that's why I put Hurts at 1A. Like, they're 1, he'd be 1A. None of those other guys that this idiot is talking about would even get a sniff.
But here's the issue
for me.
I agree with you that when you would look at Lamar and Burrow and Allen, you may say, okay, they got more skills.
You're not going to make.
They're a better
you would
passer.
rather have Jalen Hurts.
What I'm saying is,
come on now.
All of it is hypothetical. Like, I had people say to me too, "Oh, well, if you put Allen on this team, you don't think they win the Super Bowl?" I don't know.
Oh,
Mike, I don't know. You don't know if Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, or Lamar Jackson shows up the way that Jalen Hurts did in the biggest game of the year.
You think those four quarterbacks have a better skill set overall than Jalen Hurts?
Better skill set, yes.
Okay. Well,
but we talked about
case,
what did you ask last week?
Well, the only thing you can do is maximize your chances. If they have a better skill set, you're maximizing your chances.
But when you got a guy like Jalen Hurts, who we put up there as being in the top 5 clutch gene in NFL history, why would you move on from that? When you have a guy that doesn't lose, they haven't lost a game with Hurts since when the Phillies were still playing, Mike. So why would you even say, all right, hypothetically, I would replace Hurts with one of those guys because they have a better skill set? No. I want the guy that wins. I want the guy that's the proven winner.
That's silly.
How many Super Bowls has Josh Allen been to?
It's like saying a guy who, like Jamie Moyer, you'd rather have because he wins.
How many Super Bowls has Allen been to?
No, it's not Jamie Moyer. I'm sorry. That disrespected Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, you did a little. But Allen's never been to a Super Bowl. Lamar's never been to a Super Bowl.
I get it. My God, if you can't tell me that those four quarterbacks are better than Hurts, you're deluding yourself.
Let me give you one more. Since 2022, and I think I gave you this stat at the parade, Jalen Hurts has more total touchdowns than Patrick Mahomes.
You always go to this.
Listen,
right,
he's got more total touchdowns.
He always goes into the Bill yellow pad stats.
You're damn right. He's got more total touchdowns than Mahomes.
I get it. I understand
more total
all
touchdowns
your
than
numbers.
Burrow.
I get it.
More total touchdowns than Lamar.
You look at these players and you look at them in a lineup and you go, I'd had to take him. I would get to Hurts eventually, but I would get to him fifth.
Yeah, but here's where I think you're wrong. You could say that Trevor Lawrence has a better skill set than Hurts.
No, he does not.
When you're
he
talking
hasn't achieved anything.
Either
Those
has
other guys
Josh Allen.
haven't. What are you talking about? They've all achieved.
Because
they
Allen's the
haven't won
MVP.
a Super Bowl. They've all achieved.
Josh Allen's is not a Super Bowl MVP. Regular season MVP. I want the guy that shows up in big moments.
Like they have losing records like Trevor Lawrence does? Stop it. 610-632-0975. Back after this.
The Philadelphia
Missanelli Show, 97.5 The Fact. A little later in the show, I'm going to rip my hometown friends. Something that happened on Sunday. I want you to. I'll detail it, and you tell me if it's a violation or not.
These are your Bristol boys?
Yeah, Bristol homies.
Do they have radios in jail or no?
Look at you, man. Oh.
I'm only kidding. I met some of your Bristol boys at Rally House last week. Nice guys.
Yeah, it involves one of them.
All right, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, we'll get into that in a second. All right, so the text board is humming a little bit on the quarterbacks. Listen, I'm trying to be as objective as possible here. There are 4 top quarterbacks in the league. Jalen is 1A. There's 1 and there's 1A. And then there's a drop-off. So if you look at it, I go, okay, there's 1. There's 4 guys. There's 1A. That's Jalen. And then the rest, I just go, well, whatever. Yeah, and this Pete Prisco's got the whatevers in the category of the 1A.
Yeah, which it doesn't make sense to me. But,
No.
But here's my question for you and a lot of people out there who would say, oh, you can't even think about putting Hurts above Allen, Lamar,
You can think about
or
it.
Burrow.
I wouldn't.
But if you brought in any of those 3 quarterbacks, Lamar, Allen, or Burrow, how much better could the Eagles be? Like, Jalen Hurts already has the second highest winning percentage since 2022, second to only Mahomes. He's already been to 2 Super Bowls. He's got the best completion percentage in Super Bowl history.
Let me ask you this.
Like, what else would we want?
When you go into battle, do you want the best ammo? And take your chances? You have the best ammo. If you don't win, you don't win. But don't you want to take the best ammo in there?
I want the best ammo, but I want it in a gun that's very reliable. And I know that Jalen Hurts is going to show up in the big moments.
You would use a Colt 45 instead of an automatic gun because the automatic gun jams.
Possibly.
And
I don't like the analogies.
The 6 bullets in the chamber, they don't jam.
What I'm saying is,
like from the wire.
But what I'm saying is, everything with those other 3 would be just hypothetical. Well, if you brought them here, they would have won too. If you brought them here, they would have performed too. We don't know that, but what we do know, Jalen Hurts performed. In both Super Bowls, he performed. In the NFC Championship game, he performed. This team wins with Jalen Hurts a quarterback. So I don't want to keep hearing about, oh, well, they have a better skill set. You could say that about a lot of people. You could probably say that about Caleb Williams coming out of the draft. Oh, he's got a better skill set than Hurts.
I think you're being silly.
I don't want him.
I think you're being very silly. All right, let's get to the
wins or wins, man.
Let's go to the text board, Ray. What do we have on that quarterback thing?
All right, Terrence from Wilmington. It's amazing this generation keeps hanging on to the word elite. Josh Allen, elite. Joe Burrow, elite. Lamar Jackson, elite, all sitting at home in elite chairs. And even the elite Patrick Mahomes can't win by himself. Ask Terry Bradshaw, Troy Aikman, Eli Manning, who are considered elite but sure feel elite with them rings. Ask Lamar, Josh, Joe if they want to be called elite or champions. Ask if they wish they had the talent the Eagles had. And beyond the rail, Hurts doesn't care about being called elite. He's not sitting at home in a chair. He got to enjoy a parade that only elite few as a team get to enjoy. Rings and championships matter.
I get it. But that doesn't mean you aren't going to get the ring of the championship with the 4 better players. I mean, come on. I'm not trying to denigrate Jalen Hurts by any means. I'm just going, there are 4 very elite quarterbacks in this league, and he is like right on the cusp of it, but he's not in the 4. That's all I'm saying. And so I go, okay, I'm taking the best ammo I can into a game. Maybe I wouldn't win with it. Yeah, it takes a lot to win. It takes a really good team. It takes a good defensive coordinator that shuts the other teams down. You know, I mean, you got to put it all in the equation.
I don't know, man. At the end of the day, it's about results, and Jalen Hurts delivers them. So,
all right, let's go. Bill Sasaki comment. The texter's joking about it, right? What do you got?
Oh, yes. We had an unnamed texter. Hey, Bill, pay attention to anything other than the Eagles. Let him know that the new guy, Soto, on the Mets is a solid player, too.
Wait, by the way, so you couldn't understand the... Like, maybe not sarcasm, like, Ray, how good is this guy, Ray? Like,
that's not what you did.
That's exactly what I did.
I don't know, Ray. You can read, Bill, right? That's not what.
But first of all, I know who the guy is because there were rumors that the Phillies wanted him.
We did that after the Bill comment.
It was funny nonetheless. I enjoyed the moment.
You know what? Pull it.
Ray doesn't want to rip you today.
Pull it back.
Ray normally would dig right in there. There's something going on with Ray today.
You go back and you pull the question then. You pull the clip and we'll play it.
Right.
And whether or not I knew who the guy was or not.
Bill, I'm throwing you a lifeline here to help you out. Don't give me more work and make me want to turn on you.
Sasaki, he does. He builds motorcycles. Bill.
No, he
plays baseball on the side.
Look, he's never done it at the Major League Baseball
right.
level.
Yeah,
Let's go to the phones.
I'll take my chances with him.
Rick and E. We're going into a baseball season too, right? We're going.
Billy Baseball back.
Right. We're out of his yellow pad realm.
Yo, listen to
and
me.
We're going
No,
into
don't even start with the fifth
baseball
start
season.
Listen
thing
to
again.
me.
I don't have the energy today to yell at you.
All of August and September, I warned you about these Phillies, man. And Mike didn't want to hear it. And I wasn't a baseball guy, and I was just a football meathead. Well, it turned out the football meathead was right.
About
All
what?
right?
That's right. Rob
After that
Thompson
early
should have
exit.
flipped chairs,
You're
so that
right,
would have
right
changed
about
the
what? That
result.
the Phillies didn't hit?
I
That
was
the Phillies
right.
should have at the trade deadline got a better left fielder?
I was right.
They weren't good enough to hit without a good left fielder?
That down the stretch. Well, one, they should have done more at the trade deadline, yes. Number two, down the stretch, when it became acceptable that you were just going to lose every fifth day and no one cared and there was no sense of urgency, that you weren't going to be able to just flip the switch because it was October. And that's exactly what we saw. We saw a team that struggled after the All-Star break, and they were never able to flip the
starter
switch.
doesn't even start in the playoffs.
It's not about that. It's
What is
about
it
the
about?
mentality that you allowed to creep into the clubhouse. There was a complacency. We're going to be fine. We just got to get to October. It's all right losing every fifth day. Oh, you don't want to play today, Bryce? Don't worry. We don't need you to pinch hit today, even though we have a chance to win this game. It's fine because we'll lose. That mentality creeped in.
You take a football mentality into baseball, which is erroneous.
And you brought a
It's
baseball
all about
mentality,
if
and
you-
the team lost.
If you don't hit, you don't win. Rick in Easton joins us. Rick, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Rick.
Mike, first things first before I go Phillies. You and Steve Fredericks, in my opinion, were the best combination. And Bill and Ray, you're getting right there with them. That's a compliment.
Thank you,
I'm going
Rick.
to tell you something. Were there other individual, you change the names and the faces in life and everything's relative. Were there other individual great sports talk show hosts than you and or Steve? Maybe. But the combination of your team and your synergy was second to none. And that's why I'm agreeing with Bill. Sometimes you have to put skill set aside, and it's all about the system. And I totally agree. But what I disagree with you with the Phillies is after this Super Bowl, this was Super Bowl or bust for the for the Eagles. This is absolutely a World Series or bust season for the Phillies. From day one till when they're eliminated or if they win it all, with this pitching staff, which I think, my opinion, is top three, with the first six players in this lineup, we already talked about me wanting to put Schwarber fourth. I'm telling you right now, Laurie and Roseman are crushing Middleton and Dombrowski. This season is going to matter, and don't you think for a second this is not World Series or bust. And by the way, guys, don't take Castellanos so seriously. You guys are too intelligent for that. And Mike, the Braves, let's not forget, had a monster lineup and had one of the best lineups in baseball 2 years ago. Don't think they can't come back and be formidable.
Oh, they're going to be formidable. I'm
just telling you.
I can't tell you. Like, I can't say World Series or bust. Win the World Series or bust. I don't know if they're good enough to make that happen. And B, even if they're good enough, you could lose in baseball.
I think the window's closing on them.
Well, the window might be closing, Rick. But again, you can't predict in baseball. You can't predict anything in baseball. They're good. They're a contender. That's as good as we can do. That they're a contender. Now, we'll see the season and the playoffs play out. Baseball, brother, different. 610-632-0975 is how you come in. Mike Missanelli Show continues.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Who's the next OC? I'm Ray Dunn with this Fanatic Sports Updates. Eagles return to business following the Super Bowl. Their first order of business will be to bring a new offensive coordinator after Kellen Moore's departure to New Orleans to be the Saints head coach. Jeff McClain of the Philadelphia Inquirer told Kincade and Salciunas last week that the team may look internally to fill that position with Kevin Patullo.
And he'll certainly get the interview. I know that there's internal support for him. There's a lot of people in that building that like him and want him to get that job. That being said, Jeff and Howie are going to oversee this.
Kellen Moore right now is looking to take a few other Eagles coaches with him, reportedly looking to interview both quarterbacks coach Doug Nussmeier and running backs coach Jamal Singleton for his offensive coordinator job, and defensive backs coach Christian Parker for his defensive coordinator job. Elsewhere, the Phillies had their first workout as a full team yesterday in Clearwater. Bryce Harper missing it due to an illness. Elsewhere, we have the NHL and NBA still on break, as the NHL on break for the Four Nations face-off, and the NBA All-Star Game was over the weekend. This update is brought to you by Mattress Firm. It's Mattress Firm's President's Day sale. Get matched to your perfect bed now and sleep at night. Plus, if you see a lower price, they'll match it. Restrictions apply. I'm Ray Dunham, the home of the 76ers and the Flyers. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Mike Missanelli Show. as we lead into the second hour of this program, some news. You know, it's funny when you win something, like Doug Peterson tried to cash in when they won the Super Bowl, right, with the book.
Yeah.
I didn't think this would ever happen.
This is
Howie
an interesting
Roseman
one.
gets hit in the head with a beer can. He gets a hockey wound. What has now happened here, Bill? Can you inform the people of what's going on with his management team?
Howie, man, he's a businessman first. So according to Josh Gerben, who is a trademark attorney, a newly formed LLC called Bleeding Bird LLC that lists Howie Roseman's manager as its contact filed for a trademark on Saturday for the words, "I bleed for this city." And the filing claims that Howie and his team plan to develop a clothing line around the phrase. So "I bleed for this city" may go down.
Hell yeah.
Making a ton of money for Howie Roseman.
How do you feel about that?
I'll be first in line to buy it, man.
You don't think that's a little weird?
Second in line. I'll be there first.
Look, I give him credit, man. You actually said
A general
yesterday.
manager
Well, you said yesterday.
should be doing this?
You didn't think he was that witty, right? So he gets it, does it. I have no problem with it. Look, other people are already making shirts off of it, and it's his saying so. Let him make some cash.
All right. Let me ask you a question here, just based on this quarterback thing. I just thought of another analogy. Bill Colarulo trying to hit a 90-mile-an-hour fastball. There are two bats. One is hardwood maple, the choice of most major leaguers. The other is a metal bat that is used in college baseball.
It's a faulty analogy.
Which one are you taking up to the plate?
Here's why it's a faulty analogy. Because you could look at the history of the metal bat versus the wooden bat and say the metal bat is going to have more success than the wooden bat. When you look at the history of Jalen Hurts in comparison to those other quarterbacks, Jalen's had more success.
You don't know if it's going to have more success. The only thing you know is it's equipped to have more success. You're going to take that up there, and you could still get struck out. Right?
But here's where I think what you're missing.
Right. Don't you think that was a spectacular analogy? And now he's trying
Only
to fight
flaw is that Bill's going to swing and miss anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. All right. Go ahead.
Good point.
Go ahead.
All right. Here's where you're failing to put into the equation. So you're putting all these things. You're putting like arm strength and I guess pocket awareness and all these different skill sets, quote unquote. But what you're failing to realize is that there are a lot of skilled quarterbacks in the National Football League that never win the amount that Jalen Hurts wins. So
I asked you a simple question,
but
you didn't answer the question. I forget about your yellow pad analysis.
But you're giving hypotheticals. We have a real world example of Jalen Hurts.
Let's just forget about the football connection to it. Let's just focus on the bats. All right?
Yeah, of course you would take the metal bat.
Okay, you're taking the metal bat.
Of course.
All right, because you think it'll give you a better advantage to win.
But I don't think that you can compare Allen, Lamar, and Burrow as the metal bat and Jalen being a wooden bat. Like, that doesn't make sense.
The wooden bat is fantastic. The maple bat is still pretty fantastic. That's what I'm saying.
All right. Let me ask you this. Would you be willing to put your life savings, every dollar you had, on the Philadelphia Eagles to win the Super Bowl this year just because Lamar Jackson was their quarterback? Or just because Josh Allen was their quarterback? Just because Joe Burrow was their quarterback?
Would I think I'm making a better bet for them to win the Super Bowl with the better player? Yes.
See, I don't understand why you keep saying they're a better player.
They're a better talented player, Bill. All of them have a
talent.
But all of them have you make it sound like they've never won a game. All of them have achieved to a high level. They may not have won the Super Bowl. You can't compare him to a guy like Trevor Lawrence who hasn't won anything.
I just can't get over when all you keep going to is talent.
Look at the clock. What's it say, Bill? It says that it's
it says that Jalen Hurts is,
and then you're listening to WPEN and WPEN HD1 Burlington, Philadelphia, a Beasley Media Group station, broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. All right, let's go to the phones. Rob in Northeast Philly. Rob, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. What's up, Rob?
Good morning, guys.
How are you?
Listen, with the Phillies, I think the Phillies have done us and themselves a big disservice. We're going into this season with the same lineup that, quite frankly, 1 through 9, I'm exhausted from these guys. I don't care about Schwarber's June. Look around.
What do you mean you're exhausted? They're a good team. They're a good team
listen,
that should have gotten to the World Series again last year. What are you beefing about?
For the last 2 years. Is there any excitement come opening day
what
about
are you talking
the same
about?
players?
Rob, it doesn't matter if they're the same players. Are they a good team?
Yeah, they're a good team. They're not good enough.
Well, how do you know that?
They're not good enough.
This year, how do you know they're not good enough this year?
Because we've seen it. We've seen it for two straight years.
We've seen it because the other team shut them down and they didn't hit. That doesn't mean that they're not a contender again. Of course they're a contender.
They'll be a contender. They'll be a contender.
All right, well, if they're a contender, how do you know they won't win then? You don't know that. It's a long season.
Because these guys are the Phillies needed to do something to shake. And what's the stories coming out now?
Why
Why
did they need to do something to shake it up? Why? Tell me why.
Good enough.
Yeah, okay, so what were they supposed to do?
How about a guy named Kyle Tucker, who the Cubs got?
Okay, they didn't get him. They didn't get Kyle Tucker. They didn't have the wiggle room to get Kyle Tucker. They
got Max
didn't
Kepler,
have
who
enough.
was with the Twins.
They didn't have enough trade capital to get guys like that.
So we're stuck with the same guy.
You make it sound like you can just click your fingers and get a player you want. You can't.
Well, I thought you got to be smart about it. You got to figure something out outside the box.
There's nothing outside the box other than prospects to get you a player like that. There's nothing outside the box. What are you going to convince somebody to take Castellanos at that kind of salary? You can't.
You got to figure something out. You know what they're doing on opening day? They're giving out NL East pennants.
Well, that's foolish. I wouldn't give out an NL East pennant. That's ridiculous. But let's not take it to an extreme here. They needed to shake it up. Why? They still have a pretty good team. They return everybody in the same positions. They still have a contending team.
Yeah, but
so why? Like, I don't understand this need to shake things up.
Well, here's where I agree with the caller, Mike.
Okay.
Dombrowski, if he was given truth serum, would agree that they needed to shake things up. That's why that they were shopping Alec Bohm and Castellanos. And they couldn't do it.
And they couldn't find the right trade to do it.
But why would they want to do that? Because they agree you should have shake things up.
They didn't want to shake things up. They wanted guys that can get on base a little better than the offense they have. It didn't work out for them. It's not just automatic that you can improve your team. If you don't have a lot of capital, and capital meaning young prospects, you can't do much. If you want to blame somebody, blame that they constructed this team by giving all veteran players a lot of money and shirking their young building scheme. But at this point, you go, well, okay, what can I possibly do here? If I trade Bohm, I'm going to make Sosa an everyday player. It's like, what am I better off doing? Bohm as an everyday player or Sosa as an everyday player?
No, Bohm, but
okay,
I don't
that's
know.
What you had to do.
I don't think it would have been that.
What? Who would have been?
If they would have traded Bohm, they probably would have brought in a different third baseman. I don't think it would have been
like
Sosa.
Who?
They could have got
Bregman.
They could have got He would have been a lot of money.
$40 million.
Yeah, Bregman would have been a ton. But when you look, you said they don't have or you said that you would have to trade prospects. They didn't want to trade the Aiden Miller, the Justin Crawfords, the Andrew Painters.
Right. And they shouldn't want to trade those guys.
Now, I'm okay with not trading Aiden Miller,
so
I guess.
At the very worst, they come back with a contending team. Like, I don't understand this. They had to shake things up.
All right, look at the Eagles. Let's use them as the example, right? They go to the Super Bowl in 2022. They have a down year in 2023. You can almost make the exact comparison to the Phillies, right? They go to the World Series in 22, or excuse me, they lose in the NLCS in 22, and then they lose in the wild card round of 23. Look what the Eagles did. And you talk about making a big splash. They go out and buck the trend of not paying running backs, and they bring in Saquon Barkley, pay him a ton of money, and look what that did to put them over the top.
They brought in a star player.
Okay.
They could pay for a star player.
But to that caller's point, what did the Phillies do when you just now have come up short 2 years? You're regressing, too. You go to the World Series, you go to the NLCS, you go to the Wild Card. You're regressing.
You think that it's magic that you can just change your team around. And when you've got salaries like that and you have only 2 prospects, you can't do that much. But at the end of the day, you go, okay, I can't do much, but do I still have a contending team?
So
What's the answer to that?
You did this last season, too. What do you want him to do? It's baseball. Well, at this point, why is there a manager? Why is there a general manager? It's whatever.
No,
what did you want him to do?
Tell me what I want you, Mr. Baseball, to tell me what they should have done.
I keep hearing about how much of a genius Dave Dombrowski is.
I'm asking you.
So do something.
You're the genius. Don't say do something. You're the genius. Tell me what you would have done.
I think that they should have made – I know they made the effort to trade Bohm. I would have liked to have seen them make that happen.
And then what?
And then open up some doors. Who knows? Maybe you do trade one of these prospects. I just think that running it back with the exact same lineup outside of Kepler.
And who would have been your third baseman?
Maybe you do pay him $40 million, Bregman. I don't know.
You can't pay Bregman $40 million with your payroll the way it is now.
Well, if you unloaded Castellanos.
And how would you do that?
Well, then it was a bad contract, right? So then Dombrowski gave him a bad contract. I don't know.
610-632-0975. Back after this.
ESPN's Tim McManus on the
11:11, Mike Missanelli Show, 97.5, The Fanatic. It's kind of an all-purpose day here on the program. We've got a discussion about the 4 quarterbacks and whether Hurts is in that. And the only reason we're doing that because Pete Prisco says something ridiculous. He was on the morning show today that Trevor Lawrence is in there and Baker Mayfield's in there. We'd rather have these guys come on, over Hurts.
You're getting close. You're getting close.
There's 4 quarterbacks that I would rather have over Hurts. I'm sorry, and that's not to denigrate Hurts. It's just that I think that's a metal bat instead of a wood bat. That's all.
I just keep going back to it. You taking those 3, I'm going to put Mahomes above him because he's done it and he's won Super Bowls. Yeah. But you picking Lamar, Allen, and Burrow over him is a hypothetical that you couldn't guarantee success here. You just can't.
I'm not trying to guarantee success. I'm trying to go in with the best equipment, which I've explained 100 times. Now,
how much better of a season would you have wanted? We just said this is the greatest Super Bowl team in the 2000s, maybe ever.
It's a total different argument. The argument is now like the most important position on the field and in sports is the quarterback position. I would take the guy who's the better player, and I would take my chance. I know they won a Super Bowl, and I know he played well in the 2 games. If you're asking me who has the more talent to bring to the table, I would take those 4. That doesn't mean I dislike Hurts. Why are you battling with me?
Because you keep qualifying it about I would take the guy with more talent.
I'm taking metal bat. Sorry,
you're ignoring the clutch. You're ignoring the leadership. You're ignoring all these other factors.
I believe those guys could also be as clutch with a team like the Eagles. So, now, regarding the Phillies, the only thing I might have done to shake it up is to make my regular center fielder Justin Crawford. I would have taken a chance on that. I would have stopped fiddling around with the Marsh Rojas thing, and then maybe I would have traded one of those guys for a relief pitcher and then still relied on Kepler.
Well, that's not out of the possibilities yet, right? I mean, at some point this season they could pull him up.
I'm talking about coming into the season. If you wanted to shake something up, that's what I would shake it up. I would say we've decided we're going to give him a shot to be our regular center fielder. Now, that's taking a chance because when you do that, it might not work out and the kid could get buried because they did that many years ago with J.P. Crawford as a shortstop, and he wasn't ready for that kind of role. And it took him many years for him to be ready. But if you're talking about shaking it up, I believe they had enough of a veteran presence to really kind of like buffer the fact that they were going to take a chance with a young center fielder. I would have done that.
It's interesting. I mean, it's interesting. I don't know if he's ready or not, but
taking a chance. Sometimes along the way, you got to take a chance on a young player.
Are you? I forget because it's now feels like it was forever ago. Are you a Rojas guy or you're not a big fan?
I hate him.
That's what I thought. All right. I thought that.
No, I hate him.
What?
Yeah, I thought that.
I can't stand him.
I was okay last season going into it, giving Rojas the chance because we heard all summer he had worked on his hitting and all that. But I'm with you now. I don't think his fielding is so great that it makes up for all the other issues.
No, he's a little league hitter. Joe in Elkins Park. Joe, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Joe.
Yo, Mike.
What's up, Joe?
First time, long time.
How you doing?
Good. I would take Hurts over Allen, Burrow, with the exception of if we drafted Lamar Jackson with the last pick, I think this team would have broke records with rushing. We wouldn't even need a running back. But other than that, I don't see how you can take him. If you ask Allen if he would rather have the MVP or the Super Bowl MVP, I think it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, but you got to factor on how they got to the Super Bowl. They just didn't get to the Super Bowl because the quarterback pulled them there. They were a very complete team on both sides of the ball.
Absolutely.
So that's why I'm saying, like, if you have the better talented quarterback and the superiority on both sides of the ball, aren't you increasing your chances to be better?
Are you taking his 2 Super Bowl runs and saying they were elite, and you're saying you would rather have Allen or Burrow in there? There's no chance.
Yeah, I would. I'm sorry.
No way.
Yeah, well.
You got to keep
I'm with you,
things,
Joe.
right?
Don't worry.
Listen, to me, it's fundamental. I'm going in with the better ammo. I always want the better ammo. Okay,
Oh,
and
my God.
I got the better ammo with those 4 quarterbacks. Is better ammo.
Maybe during the season, the way he played, I don't see how you can take Allen or Burrow over.
Okay, well, there's no like. How could you not think that those guys wouldn't have played like Hurts? If they have,
I've seen how they play on the way to the Super Bowl. They can't even get there.
but their team's not as good as the Eagles. That's why they couldn't get there.
Oh, come on. If they were elite, it shouldn't matter what they
It
got.
should matter. It should matter a lot. If you've got the number 1 defense, it should matter. The other teams don't have the number one defense. I mean, that lessens the load on what your quarterback has to do.
Yeah, I mean, look, the defense was great, but if you go back and watch that Super Bowl, every single time Spagnuolo dialed up a blitz and had pressure, Jalen Hurts' pocket awareness was phenomenal. The way he exited the pocket, picked up first downs.
Dude, how do you know? Like you're
because
telling me
you're
that
assuming
the other quarterbacks wouldn't have had the same pocket awareness.
I don't know. You're making an assumption that in the biggest stage of their lives that they would have performed at a high level. I don't know if they would have.
One assumption is that my equipment is better. That's all. I'm not saying that they would have done it or not.
But I think that assumption is flawed.
I don't think
your equipment is better based on what? That they have a stronger arm? That they have better regular season statistics throwing the football potentially?
500, you got the better engine. Would you trust that more than,
I don't know. Does the better engine always win than the Daytona 500?
You're not guaranteed. But if you go out the starting line with the better engine, don't you feel better about yourself?
I just don't understand how you could have watched the season we just watched the last 4 seasons of this guy's career.
You're enlarging the argument. I'm just saying that those 4 guys I would prefer as my quarterback. That's all. This argument started out with that idiot saying he preferred Trevor Lawrence and Baker Mayfield. I'm just trying to qualify the argument a little better.
Is Prisco going on this golf trip with you on Friday? Is that what's going on here? You guys buddies?
Frisco. Let's go to Sean. He's calling from Illinois. Sean, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. What's up, Sean? Hey, Sean, hold on a second.
Gentlemen.
Hold on, Sean. I got to put you on hold because we're up against a break, and I want to give you a full chance here before I cut you loose. Because Sean's going to say, can any of the 4 quarterbacks handle the Eagles fan base? In which I go, oh, my God. So we'll get his call after this. The Mike Missanelli Show continues.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Who's the next OC? I'm Ray Dunn with this Fanatic Sports Update. As the Eagles return to business following the Super Bowl, their first order of business is bringing a new offensive coordinator after Kellen Moore's departure to New Orleans to be the Saints head coach. Jeff McClain, the Philadelphia Inquirer, told Kincade and Salciunas last week the team may look internally to fill that position with Kevin Patullo.
And he'll certainly get the interview. I know that there's internal support for him. There's a lot of people in that building that like him and want him to get that job. That being said, Jeff and Howie are going to oversee this.
Kellen Moore might be looking to take a few Eagles coaches with him, reportedly looking to interview both quarterbacks coach Doug Nussmeier and running backs coach Jamal Singleton for his offensive coordinator job down there in New Orleans, and defensive backs coach Christian Parker for his defensive coordinator job. The Phillies had their first full team workout in Clearwater yesterday. Bryce Harper was not there due to illness as they get going down there in spring training. As for the NBA and the NHL, both on break right now. NBA All-Star Game was over the weekend. NHL right now having the 4 nations face-off. This update's brought to you by True Green. True Green, get a golf course quality lawn for less than you think. Sign up at truegreen.com. That's TRUgreen.com. True Green, the official lawn care treatment provider of the PGA Tour. I'm Ray Down on the home of the 76ers and the Flyers. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Mike Missanelli Show.
White zombie.
Reed Blankenship. Song's about Reed Blankenship.
The exciting whites.
White zombie. All right, so let me run this by you guys. You tell me how I should deal with this as a violation. So Sunday, I'm just sitting around my house. I forget what I'm watching. Nothing. I got nothing planned. I get a text from my buddy, one of my homies. Mike, around 3 o'clock or so, Bob and I, and probably John, these are my 3 homies, are going to Marvin's for a cigar. It's been a while. I go, I'm not doing anything. I go, give me that address. They send me the address. About an hour away. Up in Bucks County.
Yeah.
I'm on the other end. I get in the car at about 2:15. Yeah, by the time I get there, they'll have seats. They got a couple cigars. I get to the joint. Hour away now. I walk in. They're not there. The place is packed, though. There's no seats at all. People, they're watching golf, smoking cigars.
Is there another Marvin's?
No. This is the Marvin. So I call my friend. I go, where are you guys? He goes, I'm home. Why? I go, I got a text from you. It said around 3 o'clock, you're going to Marvin's for a cigar. And they go, no, I meant tomorrow.
Wait, hold on. Did you respond that you would go?
I responded, give me the address. Mike, around 3 o'clock or so, going to Marvin's for a cigar. It's 1:30.
So they don't say in the original text tomorrow.
No.
And you say, give me the address.
Yes.
And then you drive all the way there.
Sends me the address.
Yeah, I think that's their violation, right there.
That's a violation.
Yeah, they got to tell you what day.
It's I just drove an hour.
Yeah, look, if it's 4 o'clock and they say around 3 o'clock, you would assume, okay, they mean tomorrow. But at 1:30.
Yeah. So now they're trying to make up for it, right? Now they get into action, and they call and they go, stay there. It'll take us half an hour to get there. I go, what, I got time to waste here for you guys? So I get in the car, I roll back. I drove 2 hours. I didn't get one cigar puff.
Oh, man.
So is that a punishable offense?
I think so. They got to make it up to you somehow. Like if it was just up the street and you went and there was a misunderstanding.
Hour away.
An hour there, an hour back.
Right.
They got to do something. Yeah. Come on now, Bob.
Ray?
Is that his name, Bob?
Chuck. What's your feeling?
I went and talked to him for a week.
Here's the difference, though, with Ray's generation. This would never have happened because Ray wouldn't have said, send me the address. He would be like, drop me a pin, right? They would have sent you their location.
That's a good point, actually.
And then you would have seen, wait, you guys never left your house, right? This wouldn't have happened. This is what happens when you have guys who don't know how to text.
Lazy Sunday afternoon. Yeah, I had a nice Cuban cigar I was going to roll in with. Yeah, that's nice. Hang out with the fellas a little bit, sip a little bourbon,
Wait, so they
watch
went
a
on,
little golf.
So they went on
cigar.
Monday? So Monday was when they were going?
Yeah.
So they texted you on Sunday.
They're all available. So like Monday, I guess they do it at 3 o'clock.
But this adds to their violation because I would assume on a Sunday afternoon texting you that they mean that day.
I would think unless they put in Monday in the text.
Yeah, unless they said specifically
tomorrow. Like give me a hint.
Well, sure they're not just messing with you, Mike?
No. They were really upset about it.
That is a violation on their part.
All right.
We got to think of something. They got to make it up to you somehow.
Let's go to Sean in Illinois is hanging. Sean, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. What's up, Sean?
Gentlemen, I've woke up every day after the Super Bowl happy. So I sit down at work today and I turn the radio on, and you just piss me off with this 4-quarterback thing. I'm so upset. I want to fight you.
Wow. Wait,
Sean's always Mr. Positivity,
Sean,
too.
why are you upset? Like, what? It doesn't take away the Super Bowl. It's
No,
just-
get him, Sean. Get him.
Oh my gosh! First of all, let's start with the fact that do you really think that Patrick Mahomes and his wife and his crazy brother could handle the Philadelphia Eagles fan base? Number one. Number two, do you think Joe Burrow could handle having the ball taken out of his hand 30% of the time because he's got Saquon Barkley now, and then he's got Jamar Chase who's going to be pissed off because he's not getting the ball. Is he going to be able to handle?
You're adding factors that don't apply to. You're adding factors that don't apply to the core argument, which is this: do you believe those 4 quarterbacks are better than Hurts slightly?
I believe 3 of them are.
3 of them. Who's the one that's not?
Mahomes.
Whoa, Sean, that was a curveball.
Mahomes.
Yes, it was.
Mahomes is not better than Hurts.
I think he used to be. I think he no longer is.
Oh, my God. All right.
So, back to what I'm stating, though. You think these guys could really handle the fan base, the media in Philadelphia? They're living in cakewalk. Kansas City is like they just praise him. That's it. He can't handle any adversity.
Yeah, I think they'd be fine.
Sean, I wanted to be on your side of this argument, but I can't get behind that Mahomes is not as good.
And you can't get behind the fan. The fan base is going to destroy their talent? Come on.
Yeah, the only reason why, Sean, is...
The fan base can eat people alive.
Yeah, not when you're successful. Those 4 guys are successful quarterbacks.
But they are there. Doesn't mean they would be here.
Cincinnati's pretty crazy fan base. Baltimore's pretty crazy fan base. Kansas City's used to winning. That's why they're not.
Buffalo's crazy.
And Buffalo's crazy.
But, see, Sean, the reason I can't get behind your argument is because I've seen Mahomes do it at the highest level and win Super Bowls. The reason why I am not with Mike on putting Allen, Lamar, and Burrow above Hurts is because we have not seen them perform at the highest level consistently the way Jalen Hurts has. Jalen Hurts has that clutch gene. Jalen Hurts is a winner. He's won more than those 3
of those
guys.
teams win, Bill. They haven't won the big prize, but they win.
You act like that's a throwaway. They haven't won the big prize, but...
Well, they don't. There's many factors on why you don't win the big prize.
Let me say one more thing if I can.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts has also gone through a nightmare, and that nightmare was the year before last when they started out 10-1 and tanked, okay?
I guess he had nothing to do with that. I guess he had nothing to do. I guess he had nothing to do with that tank.
No, but
right?
let's see what.
Right. So we're telling. So that he was outside the tank. He had nothing to do with the 6 or 7.
No, he had something to do with it.
Okay.
But he recovered from that.
I don't know where his argument. Well, I don't know what Sean's argument is. It's all over the place now.
Well, Sean just got engaged. He's maybe he's a little confused. He's got other responsibilities. But your argument, and I don't want to just keep harping on this, but your argument about the other 3, you can't guarantee that if they're on this Eagles team, that the Eagles team has the same level of success.
It's very simple. You can't guarantee anything. Well, what you go into battle with is the best ammo. That's all I'm guaranteeing.
You know what I can guarantee?
What?
That the 2024 Philadelphia Eagles win the Super Bowl with Jalen Hurts at quarterback. That is a guarantee because they did it.
They did. Now, you didn't know that before it actually happened, and you wouldn't know it in this scenario where because those guys didn't quarterback the Philadelphia Eagles.
All right, so there are people in the YouTube chat who want me to ask you about this comparison, Joel Embiid, because they're saying Joel Embiid would have the greatest skill set in the NBA, but you wouldn't necessarily take him over other guys. This is what they're saying in the YouTube chat.
Over other centers? Of course I would take him over other centers. The only guy I wouldn't take him over if you can consider Giannis as a center. Who else am I not taking? Who would you take over Embiid as a center?
Not as his position, no.
Okay, well, that's the only
point,
thing. It's not the point. It's not relevant.
But I think the point they're trying to make is you look at Embiid's skill set, but yet would you still build your team around Embiid knowing what you know now?
Yes, because he's the best center. If you're looking for a center for your team, you would still take him. You're going to make a case you would take. We're making a case you take these other players over Hurts. Who would you take at that position over Embiid?
Yeah, no.
Oh, no silence on the other end of the booth.
I'm not the one that made the
it's
point.
Silence.
I'm not the one that made the
You're
point.
trumpeting the point like you agree with it.
I'm looking to see what they're talking about on what their response is to that. I didn't make the point. My point is you saying the other guys have a better skill set means nothing to me
You're
when
blowing
I've
the
seen
same
Jalen
horn.
Hurts.
You're
Because
blowing the same horn.
It doesn't matter to me when I've seen Hurts win more than any
George is getting
quarterback.
upset. 610. That's Seinfeld, by the way. You have no idea. 610. Ray, tell him.
It's great.
Yeah.
I watched a lot last night, I'll be honest.
Seinfeld?
Watched a lot of Seinfeld. It was
Turned
on.
off all the
it was
sports.
on. It was on Comedy Channel for like 8 straight hours.
It was, and I turned it on, and then I got upset about, this is my generation, I got upset about the commercials after like the second commercial break. I went right to Netflix.
Right. What other comedy would have a farting horse?
I don't know. I don't get the reference.
Well, the reference is Kramer's crazy enough to buy food in bulk, so he buys these big cans of beefarino. It's called beefarino, but it's like like
And the
Chef
horse
Huerta.
is
He feeds it to the horse. He's supposed to take George's in-laws on a horse ride around Central Park, but the horse has gas so bad that it blows out the people, and they demand to be taken home, in which they discover George trying to sneak a marble rye into the apartment.
Sounds hilarious.
It was.
I know Seinfeld's a good show. I just haven't watched it.
610-632. It's impossible for a person not to have seen an episode.
And I've said to you, I love Curb Your Enthusiasm, and I know it's similar
Mike
humor.
Missanelli show continues after this.
Tyrone Johnson.
41. It's the Mike Missanelli Show. It's 97.5. The Fanatic. I don't know when I'm going to be able to get to the colossal mistakes that were made with the Sixers this year. You know, it's funny that there are about, I don't know, there used to be just one guy that would make decisions. Like the Sixers have like 5 dudes in the general manager's office, including Elton Brand, who you never hear from anymore. Elton Brand, it's like the right-hand man. Ned Rice. They got all these guys in there.
Look, Elton Brand, I'm sure he's a nice guy, but he made some terrible decisions when he was the GM. So if he's in Daryl Morey's ear, I'm sure that's.
I don't think he's. I think Daryl makes all the decisions, but it's like they get a lot of feedback because you don't need 5 guys to analyze, right? You just don't. You don't need 5 guys. So their analysis this year was let's load up on guys who are 36. And expect really high performances. Like that took 5 guys, Bill, to agree to that concept.
Look, in the moment, when they made the decisions that they made outside of the Kyle Lowry signing, I was kind of on board with all of them. So I'm just as guilty. I thought you went and you got a guy like Paul George. He was going to be the perfect piece. It's exactly what you wanted, the two-way wing. He's going to fit perfectly with Embiid and Maxey. And then you went and got Caleb Martin. I loved that signing. They were bad. They were bad decisions, man. They were bad decisions. But I'll give you credit. You're wrong when your football
it's a
takes.
shame that I wasn't in that room of 5.
Well, what would you have done?
Maybe I could have done something better. I would have said Paul George is too old to get that kind of a contract to. I would have said Kyle Lowry, we have no need whatsoever for him. We don't have a need for Eric Gordon. We don't have a need for Reggie Jackson. And we don't have a need for Caleb Martin because he's a system player who plays in one system in Miami. So that's what I would have said.
But you just asked me because I said I would have tried to shake things up with the Phillies. I would have said
we got to get younger, and if it takes this year to get younger, then we need to do that. But I'm not going to be misguided into thinking that Paul George at age 34 is going to be the Paul George of age 25.
Wait, hold on. Because I'm with you up until the point of you would have said we got to get younger, and even if it takes this year. So you would have written off this season?
I would have made a trade for younger energy. And if that younger energy wasn't ready, I would have said, okay, next year that younger energy would be ready. Maybe we can't beat Boston this year. But in 2 years, we're going to damn beat Boston because I've created now a template of younger energy players.
What, you got like a Brandon Ingram type guy where you tried to get him?
Whatever. That would have been my analysis. Okay? My analysis would have been the opposite of what their analysis would have been.
See, the only reason I can't get on board with that, and I get it, it's not working out what they did, but how many more years of Embiid do you have? You can't. I don't know if you could have afforded to say, oh, well, we're going to just throw this year away. I mean, they ended up doing it anyway, but I felt like you had to swing big. You had to go and get some guys like Paul George.
Your big swing would have been misguided like theirs was because they didn't factor in at age 34 and the fact that he has no interest playing with this team. You can see his body language like every night. Is he the Paul George that you're used to seeing? He doesn't want to be here.
I know. It's frustrating, man.
Let's go back to the phones. Let's go. Now I got raspy voice because of that.
I think did Ray get you sick? Because Ray's got it.
I'm not sick.
No, it's me yelling at you.
Oh, wait, Ray's very upset. Did you know this?
What?
I'm not upset.
What are you upset
All's
about?
Been taken care of.
Ray made the mistake of checking his bag on the way home from New Orleans, and the airline lost it.
You're putting words in my mouth. You're saying mistake.
He's furious.
I hate when that happens.
It's fine.
You
It's
don't
been recovered.
check a bag.
It's been recovered.
You got to carry on. It was 2 days.
Would you take a bunch of sex toys or something? Like what did you know?
Well, I need what I'm wearing to the game. I need what I'm wearing to Bourbon Street. I need what I'm wearing in the morning. You know, you got a couple
I always
things.
carry on.
It's like a 2-day trip.
Yeah,
what do you
Also, I was coming from the parade, so I needed to change out the parade stuff. I didn't want to subject the person sitting next to me on the plane to that.
Dude, I went to Europe for 2 weeks. I carried on.
I could have carried on. I brought a carry-on size suitcase. I just decided to check.
That was a good decision.
Hey, the suitcase has been recovered, all right?
Well, I'm walking to the bathroom.
Did they deliver it to your home?
Oh, no. My friend, we got diverted on the way home because of the winds in Philly, so we landed in Baltimore, had to car our way up.
What?
Yeah.
He had a rough trip.
A trip from hell.
Sunday was an interesting day.
Lord.
Yes, my friend in Baltimore just went and picked it up. Sam Cohen, appreciate you. Thanks, man.
So I'm walking to the bathroom just now, And Ray's sitting at the desk, and he goes, "Oh, my bag got delivered." I said, "Oh, I didn't know it was lost." He goes, "Yeah, they lost it." I said, "You should have checked it as I'm walking." Or you shouldn't have checked it. You should have carried on as I'm walking out. He jumps up from the desk, runs out to the hallway to chase me to the bathroom to yell at me to say that the only reason he checked it was because he traveled with the team. So, man.
Usually I just
you
carry my own stuff on.
He was not happy that
I know that. You're telling me something I know.
You should have carried on, Ray.
I'm aware. I messed up this time. Nearly cost me.
You just light him up, Bill.
Yeah, you just
light
seen him
him
jump
up.
out
He
of his
just
chair.
has no admiration at all for you.
Patience.
That's good.
Relax.
Joe in West Philly. Joe, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Joe.
Hey, Mike. Fellas.
What's up, Joe? How you doing?
I didn't know it was 5 people to make the horrible decision with the Sixers, yo. I really didn't know that. I agree wholeheartedly.
Maybe they at least have 4. Maybe they probably do have 5 in that front office. I know
nobody was saying what you were saying just now. I can't believe that. Wow. But getting back to the Eagles and the quarterback, I think the guys you put ahead of Hurts, you know what I'm saying? I mean, they've been around just as long as he has. You know what I mean? Even started to on a higher plateau, and they haven't gotten it done. Whether it's Allen, whether it's Lamar, whoever, they haven't got it done. You know what I'm saying? And in my opinion, one of the 2 best quarterbacks in the history of the NFL, Montana in one era, and Joe, you know, I mean, well, damn. You know what I'm talking about, New England. Exactly. How they've carried wooden bats. Tom Brady and Joe Montana carried wooden bats. There's no game film or no tape you would look at them and think something was so explosive or they had howitzers for arms and stuff like that. You know what I mean? They were winners. You know what I'm saying? And that's what they just don't want to give Jalen credit for. He is a winner. You know what I'm saying? Joe Montana wasn't blowing nobody. He didn't have a howitzer like John Elway, nowhere close. You know what I mean? Tom Brady was a 6th-round pick, but they were winners. They're intangible.
Dude, I get it. I get what you're saying. I'm saying if I'm going into battle, I want to have the best ammo. It's simple as that. I'm not trying to denigrate Jalen Hurts. I would take those 4 guys, and I'd take my chances with those 4 more than I would with Jalen. Now, as it turned out, he won. Good for him. He had a great team. And if you present the same great team to any of those 4, I'm thinking that they would win too.
Well, they can't beat Kansas City. We could. I mean,
it's not the same team. They didn't play with the Eagles team.
You know what I mean? Where's Joe Burrow at? He had his one appearance.
They didn't play with the Eagles team.
I mean, do it with your own team, man. You know what I mean? That's awesome.
Dude, you're missing my point here.
But Joe's point, and I think it's a good one, when you're talking about you want the best ammo, he's saying that Joe Montana didn't carry the best ammo. But yet, I don't know if you would go back in time and say, yeah, you know what? I wouldn't want Joe Montana on the 49ers. Give me Warren
Joe
Moon.
Montana was a tremendous quarterback, okay? Tremendous. Maybe the 2nd best of all time.
But did he have the best arm? No. Was he the fastest? No. So your argument about Lamar, Josh Allen, and Burrow, I think you could make that same argument with Montana.
Why are you trying to convince me?
Because I think you're wrong.
I'm not trying to convince you. I am saying this is my preference.
Because I need to help you.
I'm not trying to convince your blockhead about this.
Because you need to start listening to me, and I think you'll be in a better spot.
All right, here's the basketball operations on the other side. 5 guys. I got 5.
There are 5.
610-632-0975. Back after this.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Who's the next OC? I'm Ray Dunn with this Fanatic Sports Update as the Eagles return to business following the Super Bowl win. Their first order of business will be bringing in a new offensive coordinator after Kellen Moore's departure to New Orleans to be the Saints head coach. Jeff McClain of the Philadelphia Inquirer told Kincade and Salciunas last week that the team may look internally to fill that position with Kevin Patullo.
And he'll certainly get the interview. I know that there's internal support for him. There's a lot of people in that building that like him and want him to get that job. That being said, Jeff and Howie are going to oversee this.
Kellen Moore might be taking a few Eagles coaches with him to New Orleans. Reported looking to interview both quarterbacks coach Doug Nussmeier, running backs coach Jamal Singleton for his offensive coordinator job, and defensive backs coach Christian Parker for his defensive coordinator job. The Phillies had their first full workout as a team in Clearwater. Yesterday, Bryce Harper missed it due to an illness as they start to get going down there in Clearwater. As for the NHL and the NBA, both on break right now. The NHL's Four Nations face-off, and the NBA had the All-Star game over the weekend. Sixers return to action Thursday against the Celtics. This update's brought to you by Indeed.com. You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Start Indeed.com/credit. I'm Ray Dunn on the home of the 76ers and the Flyers. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Mike Missanelli Show. Ladies and gentlemen, there are 5 general managers, 5 people in the general manager's office. President of basketball operations is Daryl Morey. Executive vice president of basketball operations is Peter Dinwiddie.
Dinwiddie? That's a real name?
Well, there happens to be an NBA player named Dinwiddie. Mr. Basketball.
I know. In the Philadelphia 76ers front office, Dinwiddie.
The general manager is Elton Brand. The VP of Player Personnel is Prosper Karangwa. Thank you, Ray. And the assistant general manager is Ned Cohen. Nice job, fellas. Director of player engagement, I guess he would have nothing to do with picking players. There's a senior manager of player engagement. There's a summer associate. There's a director of team operations. There's a manager of team operations. There's an equipment manager of operations. And there's a driver. Now, how many assistant coaches do you think they have?
4.
How about it's like 12? All right, you ready for this? Count them. Nick Nurse, Bobby Jackson, Rico Hines, Doug West, Matt Brace, Kobe Carl, Brian Gates, John Corbaccio, Fabulous Flortnoy, Demetrius Nichols, TJ DeLeo, Temple's own.
That's
TJ
right.
DeLeo, Reggie Redding, Villanova's own, Teray Murray, Terrell Harris, Jenny Melville, Michelle Bell, Kareem Feller. Now, how many is that?
I lost count. Ray, were you counting?
Yeah, it's 75.
Oh my God! They say there's a lot of coaching going on, not a lot of winning.
Yeah, there's like 16 listed under the basketball
How
operations.
about you give me?
coaches.
Can you sneak me in that front office? What the hell?
They'd love to have you, I'm sure.
All right, 610-632-0975. Lamar's in Tampa. What's up, Lamar? How you doing?
I'm not so good. Not so good.
All right, go ahead, Lamar. You're taking it too personally, I think.
No, it's not taking it too personally. It's just that it's just annoying when I hear like your logic for Jalen Hurts. Like I had some time to sit and think, and I was thinking that I just wanted to say that you're right. If Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson had a team that can hold the Chiefs 0 points and while simultaneously scoring 34 points, they would do a very good job. That would be a very good job if that's what they need in order to beat the Chiefs. But the main flaw is that you're acting as if those other quarterbacks are playing with chopped liver. Like Joe Burrow doesn't have any offensive talent. Josh Allen doesn't have any offensive talent, and Lamar Jackson doesn't have offensive talent.
I didn't say that at all. I'm saying the Eagles.
But that's what you're saying.
I'm saying that the Eagles. No. Not what I'm saying. I said the Eagles were number one defense. Number one. They were number one. Number one.
They had iterations of the Bengals who had top defenses, and Joe Burrow didn't.
Let me ask you, Lamar. Let me ask you this question here. All right. Do you believe that Jalen Hurts is the best quarterback in football?
I don't believe that he's the best quarterback in football.
Okay. Well, that's all. That's all I'm saying.
Let me. The best comparison of Jalen Hurts is Tim Duncan. That's the best sports comparison. It looks as if everybody can just do what Tim Duncan does. It's simple, very fundamental stuff, and it just anybody could do it. But you saying it as if like the fact that Joe Burrow is just choosing not to win these games or doing the mundane things.
I'm not saying he's choosing. Lamar, I'm just going with what I think.
So much more, but he's just choosing not to.
But Lamar, you already said that you don't think Jalen is the best quarterback in football.
I don't think that there is a number one quarterback in the league. I think that they're all equally talented. I think that Jalen Hurts is as good as any quarterback in the league. I think
were you saying that before the Super Bowl game?
Yes, we give that claim to Patrick Mahomes, and he scored 19 points and won a Super Bowl.
All right, so you're telling me that if any of those 4 teams called up Howie Roseman and said, "We'll trade you our quarterback for yours," you would not do it?
I would not do it. No.
Okay.
Patrick Mahomes won a Super Bowl last year, scoring 19 points in regulation.
All right, listen, you gave me your answer. You wouldn't do it. All right, that's fair. I think you've got a little provinciality that's influencing what you just said, but that's okay. It's the Mike Missanelli Show. It is 12 o'clock, and the 12 o'clock hour is brought to you by Service First HVAC, offering 0% financing for 48 months, rebates and tax credits up to $4,300 when purchasing a heating and cooling system. Learn more at ServiceFirstHVAC.com, and you are listening to the Mike Missanelli Show on WPEN and WPEN HD1 Burlington, Philadelphia. Beasley Media Group Station, broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studios, powering possibilities. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is time for the News at Noon.
There's a whole lot going on in this world. It's time to catch up. Here's the News at Noon. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Ray Dunn wearing shabby clothes that probably needed washing because his suitcase was lost. Is doing the News at Noon today, right, Ray?
That's the funniest thing about the suitcase being lost. If you need anything, go get something. I didn't just have a weekend's worth of clothes that I was relying on. Is everything all right? It's a suitcase. I lost it.
Did you still have some drawers that you can put on?
Yeah, I still got drawers, still got socks. I got everything. I'm fine.
Well, then you're good.
Yeah.
You got that Desenex powder to put on your feet?
No.
Oh? Oh, that was left in there?
That was never there.
Oh, your toiletries bag?
Actually, ironically,
you got extra toiletries?
My toiletries, for some reason, I put in my backpack, which that ended up working out great for me.
Oh, well, there you go. Bill, do you take all your toiletries, or do you have spares that you just travel with?
I just take my toiletries with me. I mean, I don't need much.
So
toothbrush, deodorant.
If it happened with Ray, then guess what? You have smelly armpits. No, you wouldn't have it.
I would never check my bag. There's the mistake.
There's a time when you would check a bag, though. Suppose you went to Bali.
Dude, I went to Europe for 2 weeks, carried on.
Oh, come on.
I'm serious.
Well, that's because you wear one tight shirt and it's reversed.
Well, the small shirts actually don't take up that much space.
Yeah, they don't take up any space at all.
All right, here we go.
All right, time for the News at Noon. Ray, what do you got?
All right, a lot of NBA All-Star themed things going on here. I just want this first one, though, to upset you. That's really why it's in here.
Upset me?
I don't have any other purpose to put it in here.
All right, go ahead.
I was scrolling the old Twitter feed, and I saw that the NBA had done something with the Rising Stars. They asked who has the deepest bag in the league. The first three players all answered Sixers. First one's Jared McCain. Second one is Brandon Miller. And then Julian Strawther is the third one. The first one, fine. The second one, you're going to lose your mind listening to.
All right, go ahead.
Who's got the deepest bag in the league?
Deepest bag in the league? Tyrese Maxey.
Oh, me and Paul George. Me and Paul George, of course.
I'm going to have to go Paul George. I got to rock with Paul George on that one.
Outside of Kyrie, I think he was the second highest answer.
What, Brandon Miller and Julian Strawther said Paul George?
Uh-huh.
Who has the deepest bag in the NBA?
Yep.
Jared McCain said Tyrese Maxey.
This kind of goes right with our quarterback argument.
How, Paul George is the first thing that popped up in their heads? That he's the deepest bag in the league?
That's what it said.
Like the guy in Minnesota doesn't have a bag? That's a weird answer. That's the first thing. That's the first name that popped into their heads. Paul George.
I will say you have to remember Brandon Miller was the one that called Paul George the GOAT before he was drafted.
Wow, that's really misguided. That answer.
It's interesting because it's not just one of them. Wait, you said there were more than just those two?
I
don't think Julian Strawther wanted to put any thought into it, so he just reiterated what Brandon Miller said.
What do you think about McCain saying Maxey?
That's politically correct.
Yeah.
Good teammate right there.
What's next?
All right, second one. Dwight Howard was asked by Carmelo Anthony's podcast, the Mount Rushmore of dunk contest winners. Here is his answer to that.
Mount Rushmore slam dunk contest winners. This one is difficult. Gotta have Vince in here. Gotta have Dominique. And I gotta go with the two A-Town, Josh Smith and myself.
Oh, come on.
Well, his was amazing.
No. How do you not put Spud Webb in there?
Oh, that wasn't that great.
Oh, come on. The dude's 5'7".
That's the two little guys won it because it's a novelty act.
Dude, he's 5'7".
Their dunks weren't that great.
Spud Webb's my favorite one.
Dwight Howard's dunk was amazing. Where he just threw it down. His body was at an angle, and he threw it down with the cape on.
Yeah, the Superman cape he had on his back.
I mean, that was crazy. Vince Carter's got 1, 2, and 3. But I got to say, I thought that the dude that played for the Nuggets, who plays for the Nuggets now, I forget his name. The dude's always hurt. Went to Arizona. No, I'm asking Bill like he would know. Ray should know.
Ray, you don't know either?
He's hurt now. He's always hurt. Aaron Gordon.
Yeah.
Aaron Gordon
got
hosed in that one.
Him and Levine.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
He got hosed.
That
was a pretty good one. But I mean, listen, Mac you got to throw Mac in there.
Hey, it's a three-peat.
It's like pretty amazing the dunks he was doing. But Dwight Howard, man, that big body flying in the air with the Superman cape on, just throwing it down. Wasn't even a dunk. It was like a throw down. All right, what's next?
All right, last one for you. You gave your All-Star game fixes, the weekend fixes. Here is Bill Simmons giving his idea of an All-Star game fix.
All right, Van, it's time. We're fixing the All-Star game, and this is the best I've ever felt about a fix. It needs to be East versus West.
Okay.
We also need stakes. If you make home court the prize, you go to a 40-minute game, go FIBA rules, so it moves faster and feels different. And you have 8-man teams from the East and the West. We picked 24 All-Stars total, but only 16 of them play in the big game on Sunday with the home court advantage at stakes. Here's the catch. Only players from top 5 seeds can be in the All-Star game. So everyone who's in the Sunday game is actually going to care about home court advantage. So I have it 7 on each side, plus an 8th person who's a commissioner pick. We start everything at 7 p.m. First half of the game, 3-point contest at halftime, and then the second half of the game. Then you move to the other thing, the Saturday game. You take the remaining All-Stars, there's 8, and you have them play the 8 best future guys. $2 million prize, $250K per person if you win. And you have the slam dunk after it.
What happens when you get a vet in the consolation against the Rising Stars game who doesn't want to be there?
Then guess what? You don't get to play in the All-Star game anymore. That's the other thing with this. Oh, the game's not good enough for you? Don't come next year. You're not eligible. That's it. Let's put real pressure on these dudes. It's like this is an honor and a privilege to be in this game.
It's not an honor and privilege. What's the honor and privilege is they're making $60 million a year. They don't give a flip about the All-Star game anymore. The only solution is to not have the game and just go with a skills competition. And my dunk contest skills competition is so brilliant, I can't believe that it wouldn't have gotten to the NBA offices by now because I've been talking about it for 20 years.
Would you keep the skills competition in the middle of the season, or would you do kind of like the NFL does, make it after the season?
No, after the season, those guys want to go, man. They're out. So they just played 82 games, or no, they haven't played 82 games.
None of them are playing 82.
But it's too long of a season for those guys. So I'm taking away every All-Star game except baseball. That's it. As commissioner of the world, like the guy we have in office now, I would have an executive order that would say, nah, that's it. No more All-Star games except baseball because it's the only legitimate All-Star game.
Now, are you going to watch the Four Nations Championship in a couple days when the U.S. takes on Canada rematch?
No. 610-632-0975 is how you get in. It's the Mike Missanelli Show back after this. 12-12. Mike Missanelli Show, 97.5, The Fanatic. Yeah, we're having a little fun today. We're bouncing all over the place. It's like an open show today. We've been talking about the Eagles and, of course, the aftermath of it and the Jalen Hurts situation here. And based on what Pete Prisco said, it got me heated up that Pete Prisco said in a something, what was it, a recorded?
Yeah, it was
something
it was a clip on Twitter that
recorded
I saw.
clip where he said that he put a bunch of quarterbacks over Jalen Hurts, including like Trevor Lawrence and Baker Mayfield. And come on, man. So anyway, we were taking apart that, and it got to the position where I said, well, there are only 4 guys that I would really take over them, and there's a tier 1 and there's a 1A, and only Jalen Hurts is in the 1A tier. There's only one guy there in the 1A, and I thought that wasn't outlandish at all to say that, but a lot of people are thinking that they're defending Jalen, and I get that. It's a provincial take to defend Jalen. He just won the Super Bowl, so yeah, I get it. I'm not going to argue. I'm just saying my personal opinion. There are 4 quarterbacks that I would take right now over him, and even though he won a Super Bowl, and
I can't get there.
And you wouldn't.
Well,
you would take him as you would take one over him. You would take Mahomes.
I would take Mahomes,
and because he won,
because Mahomes has had more success and he's on a tier all to himself.
Mm-hmm.
But when you look at Burrow, Lamar, and Allen, I think it's pretty even. I don't know if I would trade Hurts for those guys because you can't guarantee that this team would have had the same success with that. I know people can assume it. I have people in the YouTube chat. I can guarantee it. You can't. It's a hypothetical that we just don't know. What we do know is that Jalen Hurts wins at an unprecedented clip. Unprecedented. We know that Jalen Hurts in 2 Super Bowls has done things that no other quarterback in NFL history has done. He's got the best completion percentage, the rushing yards. I think he sits at 1 and 2 in rushing yards in Super Bowl history. You saw Spagnuolo dial up exotic blitzes. It didn't matter. He escaped the pocket. It was demoralizing for the Chiefs. You can't guarantee me that these other guys would have done it on the biggest stage
but you can't
of their
guarantee
career.
that they wouldn't either. It's such a hypothetical. You don't know if any of those 4 quarterbacks playing behind what the Eagles had this year wouldn't have been able to accomplish the same thing.
But you said,
what I'm saying is, if you have that kind of pedigree, if you have the best equipment, you have a better chance to do it. That's all I'm saying. I don't know if it would have been done, but I think the whole thing about sports is increases your chances to win.
I just look at what this guy has done, and I don't know how much better could this team be. Like,
let me ask you this: before the Super Bowl, if I asked that we had this same hypothetical discussion, would you have taken any of the 4? With any of the 3, you would have taken Mahomes before the Super Bowl result.
Yeah, I would have taken Mahomes.
Before the Super Bowl result, would you have said that? I would probably take Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, or Joe Burrow.
Well, we did have this conversation because Orlovsky went on with Stephen A. Smith, and we played that clip down on Radio Row where he said there's nothing Jalen Hurts can do to be discussed in the same sentence as those guys as far as skill sets. And I said, you can't say that because if he outperforms Mahomes in the Super Bowl again, then I absolutely would put him there. And he did it.
Yeah, but I'm not asking that. I'm not carrying it that far. You're asked, boom. As soon as they win the NFC title game, you're asked, would you take the 4 quarterbacks over Jalen Hurts as you go into the Super Bowl?
Before the Super Bowl, I think it would have been probably leaning towards, I would take Burrow.
Well, then you're making
Allen.
my point. And you would take that because you're taking the best ammo into the most important game.
No, you're now just disregarding the fact that on the biggest stage of his life, Jalen Hurts played lights out.
I just asked you just said you would do it.
You said before the Super Bowl.
Before the Super Bowl. That's what I'm asking.
But you can't live in that world anymore. The Super Bowl happened.
Okay, try to erase out of your brain that he won the Super Bowl.
I can't. He's a Super Bowl MVP now. Well, he won a Super Bowl.
We can't have the argument. This is like a classic barroom argument.
Yeah, but that's a Simsy right there. You just pulled a Simsy.
You're using the circumstance of the win to influence the question that I asked before the win.
It's not only the win. It's the fact that for the second time in 3 years, he outperformed Patrick Mahomes on the biggest stage of any football player's life. So when you put that factor in,
you would still take Mahomes. Like your argument has like 1,000 holes in it.
No, because I've seen Mahomes perform at the highest level. I have never seen Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson perform in a Super Bowl. I'm not taking them over Hurts.
If Hurts outperformed Mahomes, why wouldn't you then just say take Hurts over Mahomes?
Because Mahomes has done it before at the highest level.
But Jalen outperformed him in head-to-head.
But we're not talking about Mahomes. You're talking about Burrow, Lamar, and Allen.
No, I've changed the argument here because now I'm focused on your Mahomes worship here.
Mahomes has more Super Bowls.
You're taking Mahomes.
Mahomes has won 3 Super Bowls.
But then you make the point that in both games, Jalen outperformed them. So I'm just trying to get your argument here.
What I'm saying is,
the
other
used
three
to convoluting the argument to confuse the judge.
Convoluting.
No, you want to confuse a judge. That's what you're used to doing.
The other 3 guys that we are discussing, Lamar, Allen, and Burrow, I have not seen perform at their highest level in the Super Bowl. Now, Burrow got there. He was sacked 7 times when he was there.
I was just trying to blow holes in your Mahomes argument. That's all. Let's go back to the text board. The text board. Bryant B. would take who over Hurts?
Only would take Mahomes and Lamar over Hurts.
All right, well, that's Mahomes and Lamar, so that's 2. What does Jim say?
How could you not take Burrow over Hurts?
And then Sean.
Mike's point, a very, very long text that concluded with the sentence, this has common sense with regards to Mike's point.
My point has common sense. It doesn't mean that I'm supporting these guys over Hurts. What I'm saying is these guys, in my mind, are better overall players than Jalen Hurts. And therefore, if I'm going into something where I'm trying to pursue a championship, I would like to go in with the best ammo possible. That's all I'm saying. I'm not denigrating Hurts at all.
But that's where you lose me. When you say better overall players. If you want to say Burrow's a better passer, sure. You want to say Lamar's a better runner, sure. But when you say better overall player, there are factors that you can't put into statistics and
you know what the
skills.
factor you're not putting in? Their defense was number 1. 610-632-0975. Mike Missanelli Show continues.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Who's the next OC? I'm Ray Dunn with this Fanatic Sports Update. As the Eagles return to business following the Super Bowl, their first order of business will be to bring in a new offensive coordinator after Kellen Moore's departure to New Orleans to be the Saints head coach. Jeff McClay of the Philadelphia Inquirer told Kincade and Salciunas last week that the team may look internally to fill that position with Kevin Patullo.
And he'll certainly get the interview. I know that there's internal support for him. There's a lot of people in that building that like him and want him to get that job. That being said, Jeff and Howie are going to oversee this.
Kellen Moore might be looking to take a few Eagles coaches with them, reportedly looking to interview both quarterbacks coach Doug Nussmeier and running backs coach Jamal Singleton for his offensive coordinator job and defensive backs coach Christian Parker for his defensive coordinator job. Elsewhere, the Phillies had their first full team workout in Clearwater yesterday. No Bryce Harper at that one due to an illness. The NHL and the NBA still on their break. The NHL right now is the Four Nations face-off going on. The NBA, the All-Star game over the weekend. The Sixers get back to action Thursday night against the Celtics. This update is brought to you by the Truist Championship at Philadelphia Cricket Club. The PGA's Truist Championship will be played at Philadelphia Cricket Club in early May. Watch top tour players and enjoy a variety of fan activities. Tickets on sale at truistchampionship.com. I'm Ray Dunn on the home of the 76ers and the Flyers, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Fall has begun. How about that? Spring training going on. We'll be getting those, those feature stories every day. There you go. Oh, my God. I got to cover this baseball beat. I just can't wait for the season. Now I got to do a feature every day. So today was on the controversial Nick Castellanos. What did Nicky say that got you your panties in a bunch there, Bill?
Let me see if I could find this because it was frustrating. I got a couple things up here. I'll find it. Give me 1 sec.
Okay. But anyway, they ranked the top 100 players in
I got
baseball on MLB.com. We'll go over that in a second. But what did he say?
All right. So he was asked by, I think it was Corey Seidman on NBC Sports Philadelphia about all of the talk on sports talk radio and in the media about how they're chokers and they aren't good enough and the windows closing. And here was his response. This is a quote from Nick Castellanos. I do think we have less pressure as a team this year, especially with everything the media said about us when we lost last year, and we really didn't go out and make any crazy changes. So if we lose, you guys look smart, which is dope, right? But then if we win, it's like a happy surprise. It's kind of a freeing place to play baseball. You know what I mean?
So you think it's actually the opposite of what he says?
I think there should be an all-time high amount of pressure on this team after what the Philadelphia Eagles have just done. And what the Philadelphia Phillies have done in 2 postseasons in a row, and now they're regressing. They go to the World Series, and they go to the NLCS and get beaten by a lesser team with 2 games at home in the Diamondbacks, and then lose last year in the divisional round of the Mets. The window is closing on this team. I think the pressure should be at an all-time high. And Castilla, we're playing with house money, basically. It doesn't matter. That bothers me. And look, even if you think, Mike, that this should be the mentality when it comes to baseball, I don't think you say this.
I don't think this should be about. I put him in perspective. He's a quirky goof. He's not my type of cat. So like the stuff that he says, I just kind of like rolls off me.
But I do think that there has to be more pressure. The other thing we got at our, unfortunately, is it's not like the Sixers or the Flyers are going to distract us from the Phillies. So not only do they have the Eagles having this crazy amount of success, most fans aren't going to be tuned in to what's going on with the Sixers in April, May, and June. So the Phillies are going to be where everyone's got their eyes.
Yeah. Well, what do you think about the new lineup proposed? Turner, Harper, Bomey, Schwarbs as your first 4.
I don't think it's going to happen.
You don't?
I think they're going to keep Schwarber at lead.
You do?
Yeah.
I think they're changing it up a little bit. Because they've been hearing complaints from Bill. You got to mix it up. You got to change it. It can't be the same.
I know, but it just doesn't seem like that's something they would do.
Like it would be in 5-hole. Castellanos from the 5-hole.
Where would you put Kepler?
He's at the bottom of the order. They like to go righty-lefty. So like Castellanos, it would probably go Stott in that situation. And then they would go right-handed with JT.
What are you talking about? There's a righty on the mound or a lefty on the mound?
No. They would go as far as righty-lefty in the lineup. He likes to go righty. He doesn't like to stack righties or lefties. So you got Turner, right-hander, Harper, left, Bohm, right, Schwarber, left, Castellanos, right, Stott, left, JT, right. And then the last 2, you go Marsh in the 8-hole and Kepler, one or the other.
So why not Schwarber leading off, then with Turner, then with Bryce Harper in the 3-hole, Castellanos batting cleanup,
No.
Kepler batting 5th,
No.
then Bohm 6, Stott 7,
No,
Realmuto 8.
You can't put Kepler in that important of a spot in the lineup because you're really unsure about him. You got to get his sea legs under him. You can't put that kind of
So what are you putting him?
pressure
You're putting him at an 8-hole? Is that what you said?
Yeah, 8 or 9.
You see, I think when I look at the lineup,
Marsh 9, Kepler 8.
The big hole in this lineup is I don't think they have a cleanup hitter.
Well, I don't have a cleanup hitter, but Schwarber's as good a cleanup hitter as any. That's why I like this configuration. If you're going to lead Turner off, have Harper get an at-bat right away, Bowman the 3-hole, and Schwarber as your cleanup guy. There's nothing wrong with that.
I would be shocked, absolutely shocked, if Thompson moves Schwarber out of the leadoff.
Really?
We've been debating this for years.
This lineup is now getting a lot of pub. So I think that maybe it's getting pub because it's been hinted at. All right, let's go to Darren in Phoenixville. Darren, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Darren.
Mike, Bill, what's going on?
What's up, Darren?
Hey, Mike. So you guys, I got a new name for you guys. You guys are the Philly sports radio dream team. Because you guys have the lawyer background and then the sports background.
Look at that. You can't beat it. It's a dream team, baby.
Wait. Are we the 92 dream team, or are we like the Eagles dream team?
Johnny Cochran's dream team.
You're the Cochran dream team, and you're the basketball dream team.
All right, but not the Eagles dream team that had Vince Young, right? We're not going to not that one.
So Mike, this is one of the few times that I gotta go with Bill. I gotta agree with Bill today. I mean, there's a number of different reasons with this Hurts thing. First off, what conference? These other quarterbacks we're talking about, what conference are they in?
Well, they're in the AFC.
They're all AFC. So what happens is when we get in the playoffs, we run through the NFC. This is why I wanted to play the Rams, because I had friends that didn't want to play the Rams. I wanted to play the Rams. I wanted to play any team that was in front of us, and I wanted to beat Mahomes. And we beat all those guys out there in that AFC, and they get in each other's way. They're not one of the. I would say one or two of those quarterbacks won't even ever win a Super Bowl or even get to the Super Bowl because they're all in each other's way.
So they beat each other up. I get it, but that doesn't mean that you wouldn't want to have them if they're not the best.
I'm with you on the skill set, but Hurts is proven now. Like, other than Mahomes.
All right, so you're saying that Hurts is the best quarterback in the league. That's what you're saying.
Not better than Mahomes. I won't put him ahead of Mahomes because Mahomes has, 3 Super Bowls?
Okay, all right. You're better than the other 3.
I don't want to put him in front of. I don't want to.
So you're agreeing exactly with Bill. You would not. You would take it.
I mean, because. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. I'm saying you would not take him over Mahomes, but you would take him over the other 3. Is what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, you can't at this point. And Mike, you know, you've been covering football forever. When it gets into the playoffs, things have to go a certain way. And for him to get back in the Super Bowl in 2 years, I mean, that tells me a lot, man. How come Burrow can't get back to the Super Bowl?
Well, you just made the point.
You know what I mean?
You just made the point why he can't get back because he's getting beaten up by the other ones. The other ones are consuming him.
He did.
You made your own point.
Exactly. And then things aren't going his way though. Like he had the same problems that Mahomes had. I mean, I'm sorry. He had the problems that what's his best receiver, Chase, right?
Yeah.
He had some issues with Chase this season, just like our quarterback Hurts had with
Yeah, I don't think he had many issues with Chase though.
Well, he's trying to get him paid. You know what else is crazy, Mike? This whole conversation about Hurts versus Lamar, Burrow, Allen. You know, Hurts is only 26. Those other 3 guys are 28. So look at what Hurts has done in a shorter period of time.
It's not old for a quarterback.
Not old, but where's Hurts going to be in 2 years?
Look what he's done in relation to what they've done at an older age. Okay, I get it. I understand you're making this case. I am just saying, like, I don't know. Logically speaking, it seems to me that I'm better equipped with the other 4 than him, but close. Like I wouldn't turn them down. I'm just saying if I had the choice, I think those 4 guys give me better ammo going into battle. That's all.
Yeah, but I just keep going back to, I mean, how much better ammo do you want? Hurts hasn't lost since September, man. I mean, like, what are we talking about here?
You can never have enough ammo.
But he hasn't lost since September, so when you look at it.
How much ammo do you want? I'm going to turn down ammo?
But you're only basing it off of skill sets, and you're not acknowledging that there's the clutch gene.
I'm acknowledging it. I got him at 1A. What do you want me to do? 1A.
I want you to get a Jalen Hurts
from
tattoo.
1.
I want a Hurts tattoo. That's
I'm
what I
not
want.
getting the Jalen Hurts tattoo.
But another.
I did. It's funny you brought up the tattoo because I think I've decided what I want to get.
Oh yeah.
Yes. A saying. I always wanted to get a saying.
You're not wrong.
No.
Oh. Google me?
Saying on my wrist.
It's okay.
Rib cage.
You would be wrong,
right?
but that's okay.
What do you think of this one on my rib cage? Now, please don't people copy this, all right? Because, I'm at an age now I always wanted to get a tattoo. I got like 5 years to live, so I might as well just
you might as well.
might as well get it for 5 years, right? So it's this one here. Let's see. Willingness to learn is a choice.
Wow. That's deep.
Huh?
Ray, don't steal it.
Short, sweet, and to the point. What do you think, Ray?
I've already got it on my back.
I like that. I like that he prefaced it with, "No one steal this," and now everyone's running to the tattoo polish.
Get a tattoo
like
parlor to sponsor the show.
in a nice little script.
I think it would be nice.
Willingness to learn is a choice.
Or maybe put it in Italian.
Because then this is a message to people. There are a lot of people who are unwilling to learn.
I
You
think.
know what I'm saying?
Hear me out on this.
What?
I think across your back, you get Google Me, and then we put the QR code where people could scan it, and it actually Googles Mike Missanelli.
Yeah, now why you gotta be silly?
I'm not. I'm being serious.
You're being silly.
Wouldn't that be an awesome tattoo,
I'm
Ray?
trying to be poignant. I'm trying to have something that'll, like when they put me in the grave, it'll go with me. And Mike, that willingness to learn is a choice. He left this earth.
Wait, hold on.
With willingness to learn is a choice.
We got another suggestion in the YouTube
What's
chat.
up?
Relax your throat. Do you have it, Ray?
See, I'm trying to be introspective here, and you guys are peeing all over it.
Do you have it?
610-632-0975. We're back after this.
Tyrone John.
1240, Mike Missanelli Show, 975 Fanatic, 610-632-0975. We'll give you the text line in a second. Get your calls in a second. You know, I had a law professor once, and his whole mantra was, he introduced himself and the class as, people are no damn good, is what he said. So everything was based off of people are no damn good. In other words, people will try to do mean things, and as a lawyer, you got to always be prepared that people are no damn good. Which leads me to the next thing. Have you guys been getting this scam email about owing money on your Pennsylvania Turnpike account? This is the new scam now.
I haven't gotten
this.
it
I've
Right?
gotten the text.
You got it. It's a text or it's an email. You get scammed. They say you're delinquent and penalty fees are going to mount up if you don't settle up, and it's a scam. And this is on the heels of the scam. I think that's this one. The other one's cooled off a little bit, where they say they have personal information. They've had a camera on your house, and they have personal information. And what they do is they pull up a Google image of your house as proof that they've been surveying your house. Now, let me listen. I do have an S&M chamber, so I'm just kidding. But that was a scam. And people, what are these people out there trying to scam everybody? Like, I don't get it. Why are there so many creeps out there?
Well, a lot of these scam ones are not even here. They're like overseas somewhere. They're calling you and doing all these different things.
Yeah, they always have a scam about something. And then the latest one is this Pennsylvania Turnpike situation. Right?
Which seems very believable. I'll be honest with you. When I got it at first, I was like, I'm not going to do anything about this because I'm just going to ignore the problem and let it go away. But I didn't think scam. I thought, oh, geez. I definitely was speeding somewhere. And they definitely
but if you open it up, I think it could create a virus.
Which is why I didn't touch it. I was like, this problem will take care of itself.
What's wrong, people? Come on, people. Let's love your brother.
Yeah, you got to...
Everybody get together. Try to love one another right now.
Did you hear that harmonizing right there?
That's pretty good.
It's not much better than last
week.
Well,
look, everything is a scam. And I don't know if you saw this. This is kind of related, so bear with my ADD brain. I just saw that. Did you see the videos coming out of New Orleans after the Super Bowl between Patrick Mahomes Sr. and John Rocker? How they almost got in a fight in the street?
I saw it. I didn't really read it.
Well, video surfaces on social media. They almost get in a fight in the street, and then about 24 hours later, Barstool breaks that they're going to fight each other and the next rough and rowdy and all that. Well, I'm just seeing on TMZ right now that Patrick Mahomes Sr. admits in court documents that the whole thing was staged to just raise publicity for the fight that they were going to announce. So it's all fake. You can't believe anything.
Well, anyway, for people that have gotten this text or email, it's a scam. It's the latest scam.
Always, you know what you should do always when you get an email? Immediately look at the email address. Because it's never from that company. Like if you get something from Amazon that tells you, oh, your Amazon account, click here, whatever. Look at the email address that it comes from, and it's never going to come from Amazon.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right about that. But, this one that they threaten you, they try to extort money out of you, saying they have all this personal information. They've had cameras on your house and in your bedroom, and you got all this illicit activity that's going on. Now, it's funny because if you have it, you just got it. It's just stupid. But if you had, it's like, oh, my God, they got me. I got to pay up.
People people fall for it.
Bastards.
Well, this parking or this turnpike thing was one where I was like, that seems kind of believable.
Yeah, it is.
Given how I drive, I was like, that kind of feels right.
Yeah.
My mom almost got scammed. She got called in the middle of the night one time, and when she answered, Mom, it's me. Never said her name, never said who it was. And then she's like, Billy? Yeah, it's me. They got me. Like, basically acting like I had been, kidnapped.
Oh.
My mom's freaking out. She calls me in the middle of the night in like a panic. You okay? I said, yeah, I'm fine.
Bastards.
Oh, they just called and pretended to be you.
I wish I had a superpower where I could just push a button and find out who these people are.
Did you ever see the videos, though, where you're getting scammed and they just keep the people on the line for like 2 or 3 hours? Have you ever seen those?
No.
They're pretty funny. Because they're going to try to get you. Oh, you got to go to CVS. You got to buy gift cards.
Yeah. No, I've never seen it.
Algorithm difference between the two of you.
Back
there.
on the sports.
Let's go to Nick in Briarcliff. Nick, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Nick.
Hey, what's up, guys?
What's going on, Nicky?
Just wanted to say, great show. You guys got great camaraderie and banner, and I really enjoyed. I didn't get down the parade, but I enjoyed the coverage you guys provided. It was very.
Oh, thank you. We had a blast doing that, man. That was a lot of fun to narrate a parade.
It was awesome. It was really cool to listen to. And Mike, I got to give you mad props for that Timberwolves pick last week. That was a big one.
Oh, the T-Wolves. I called it an outright W with the T-Wolves over Oklahoma City. And they were what, a 7, 9, and 2
10 and a half.
10 and a half, and I had it outright. Did you play it?
I played it, and I think they ended up winning by like almost 20, a little over 20, something like that.
Oh, nice, Nick.
It was. I owe you a beer for that, Mike. I owe you a beer.
Beautiful. I'll take it.
All right, now let me jump into this debate because I think it's a good one, but I think Mike's side, which I think is the rational side. Obviously, you could substitute any of these 4 quarterbacks for Hurts and probably get the same results. It was the team success.
Yes.
He was just a part of it.
Yeah. No. Listen, he, as the most important player on the field, he did more than just a team success. I'm just saying, like, that obviously helped a lot that they had the number 1 defense that really defined the game. When you think about it, like, he got the MVP. But everybody came away and, Fangio probably should get the MVP.
Yeah, but wait, hold on. Nick, I just can't. You probably are right? You're probably right that if Burrow, Lamar, or Allen's on the team, they have success. But you can't guarantee that. But we can guarantee that they win the Super Bowl with Jalen Hurts as their quarterback. We can't guarantee that in Super Bowl 59, if anyone else is the quarterback, that they win the game. You just can't.
Okay, Bill, I wanted to go at you for a minute, too, because of your Mahomes, flip-flopping with Mahomes and Hurts thing anyway. So you're saying because Hurts outperformed Mahomes on the biggest stage, that gives him some sort of leverage, I guess, to be better than Mahomes, or I don't know.
No. I don't put him above Mahomes. What I'm saying is I am putting him above Lamar, Allen, and Burrow.
See, this is what. But here's what you're saying, though, Nick, and you agree with it. He's saying he wouldn't take him over Mahomes, but at the same time, he's making the case that he outplayed Mahomes.
Okay, now with that being said, didn't Eli Manning outplay the greatest quarterback all time, the greatest dynasty all time, and the single-season greatest team all time, and go 2-0 against the Patriots? But I'm not going to take Eli over Brady, am I?
Exactly. That's a great argument, Nick.
Yeah, but did Eli Manning, in 3 years as a starter, have a 782 winning percentage? Did Eli Manning have the most touchdowns since 2022 outside of Josh Allen?
He's into his yellow pad again, Ray.
Because what we're doing here is you can't just take bits and pieces. You got to look at what Jalen Hurts has done in 3 years as a starter. He's been to the Super Bowl twice. He's performed at the highest level in the Super Bowl both times that he's been there, and his regular season winning percentage is like unprecedented outside of what Patrick Mahomes has done, and the guy's only 26. So I no longer want to hear, well, Burrow's got a better skill set. Oh, Allen's got a better skill set. Lamar has a better skill set. No, I care about results, and Hurts has delivered them better than anybody. Mic drop. Hit the break.
610-632-0975. On to the text board after this as we roll into the 1 o'clock hour. We had baseball talk a little earlier. Have you noticed that we have no basketball talk? People are just checked out of basketball. They're checked out. They don't even care anymore. The Mike Missanelli Show continues.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Who's the next OC? I'm Ray Dunn with this Fanatic Sports Update. As the Eagles return to business following the Super Bowl celebration, their first order of business will be bringing a new offensive coordinator after Kellen Moore's departure to New Orleans to be the Saints head coach. Jeff McClay of the Philadelphia Inquirer told Kincade and Salciunas last week the team may look internally to fill that position with Kevin Patullo.
And he'll certainly get the interview. I know that there's internal support for him. There's a lot of people in that building that like him and want him to get that job. That being said, Jeff and Howie are going to oversee this.
Now looking at what Kellen Moore might do to the rest of the staff, he might be looking to take a few Eagles coaches with him. Reportedly looking to interview both quarterbacks coach Doug Nussmeier and running backs coach Jamal Singleton for his offensive coordinator job, and defensive backs coach Christian Parker for his defensive coordinator job. The Phillies had their first full workout as a team yesterday in Clearwater. Bryce Harper did miss it due to an illness as baseball season getting its way underway down there in Clearwater. As for the NHL, the NBA both on the break right now. NHL is the Four Nations face-off. The NBA had the All-Star game over the weekend. 76ers return to action Thursday against the Celtics. This update's brought to you by Mattress Firm. It's Mattress Firm's President's Day sale. Get matched to your perfect bed now and sleep at night. Plus, if you see a lower price, they'll match it. Restrictions apply. I'm Ray Dunn, the home of the 76ers and the Flyers. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Mike Missanelli Show, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Got a little breaking news.
You got breaking news?
A little bit.
What do you got?
Well, Kellen Moore's starting to fill out his staff in New Orleans. And this one's a little bit of a surprise because we've heard Doug Nussmeier's name. We heard Singleton's name as the running backs coach and all that. But he hired someone else away from the Eagles staff.
Oh, really?
The Saints are hiring T.J. Paganetti from the Eagles. Paganetti served as the run game specialist and assistant offensive line coach for the Philadelphia Eagles last season. So in 2023, he was the run game specialist and assistant tight ends coach. Not a name you hear very often, but he's leaving the Eagles staff to join the Saints. We'll see if that turns out to be a big deal or not.
All right. How was Kellen's press conference? Did they get the obviouslies?
It was
going on?
Filled with them.
Was it
Filled
really?
with them. I saw one clip from that press conference, and I immediately heard 3 or 4 obviouslies, and I was fired up. Good for that guy.
Oh, they got him down there now with the obvious count. We got to tip off the Sports Talk Radio people down there.
I should have brought the message down last weekend.
Should have. What did you do in New Orleans, by the way? You didn't really detail your
business trip, you know? Strictly business.
Yeah, he tries to pretend.
What did you do? Did you hang out in the quarter?
I hung out on Bourbon Street.
You did?
Yeah. I went to Acme Oyster House Saturday night for dinner, which was fantastic.
Yeah.
Enjoyed that.
We only stopped in there for a drink. You remember? We got in too late.
Drink as soon as we got in late.
Yeah. I was there probably 9:15ish. It was closed at 10, I think. They
close early.
Yeah, they do. For what they do, it's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
But
did you get any trouble in Bourbon Street?
No, of course not. Clean trip. But it was very funny for me. The parade, the 2 flights, the connecting flights, and then getting to New Orleans and being like, well, this is one of 2 nights I have in New Orleans. So it's, I finally got to my hotel at like 11:30, and I was like, well, I've been going all day since the parade. Do I just call it a night here, or do I
go? A nice hotel? Temple pay for a nice hotel for you?
Nice Marriott, yeah.
Yeah, nice Marriott?
Yeah.
That Canal Street?
No, we were 2 blocks off of the convention center.
Did you have a lucky dog?
I did not have a lucky dog, no.
Oh, man, I pounded like 5 lucky dogs one night.
Did you try a hurricane?
At like 1:30 a.m. You know those lucky
I took
dog
care of a
trucks?
couple hurricanes, don't worry.
You know those lucky dog hot dog trucks?
Yeah, I've seen it. I didn't have them. You know that.
Man,
I'm not eating that.
I pounded, they're long. They're foot longs.
No, I'm not eating.
I pounded 5 of them one night after a load. Anyway, that's
you love hot dogs.
Hot dogs it's Americana, man. It's funny.
I've never been a hot dog guy.
Just like sneer in the face of Americana.
Wait, what do you put on your hot dogs? Are you just a plain
I'm a
hot dog?
mustard relish or a mustard sauerkraut guy?
Oh,
sauerkraut.
Sauerkraut's nasty.
Awesome on a hot dog.
Nah.
Ray, what's the text board say?
All right, JT and Taconi said, Lamar had the number 1 defense last season. He won the MVP. Other than Mahomes, Burrow is probably the only quarterback I'd take over Jalen. Allen is up in the air.
Okay, so there's 2. People are taking 2 at least. It's more than Bills 1. What else?
We got JB and Pottstown. Mike, don't forget, Hurts went head-to-head with Allen and Mahomes last year and won with the worst defense in the league.
Yeah, but quarterbacks don't go head-to-head against each other. They don't. Teams go head-to-head.
A reverse look at this one, from what we're talking about. If I'm Jackson, Allen, or Burrow, I go to my GM and say, give me what Roseman's given to Hurts.
Well, there you go. Because he gave him a lot.
About the conversation around Hurts not being a top quarterback, it reminds me of early Brady talk. I'm not saying Hurts is Brady, but all the conversation was he's a system guy, a game manager. I'd rather have Peyton on my team because of his talent. Thing is, you can't teach what Brady had. Those intangibles are similar to what I see in Jalen Hurts. He's only going to get better at the other game skills and throws that Lamar or Burrow might be better at right now.
Well, we shall see. Let's go to Spills in Southwest Philly. Spills, what's up?
Hey, fellas, how you doing?
Good, man. How you doing?
Okay, now listen. What you're missing is there's 2 different questions to your statement. Do you want to start your team of a quarterback? What quarterback would you take? And who's the best quarterback for the Eagles? Jalen Hurts is because they're family. Like, he was a college teammate with one wide receiver. The other dude is like his best friend, and all the guys are from the SEC and the Georgia stuff. They're family. If you take these same dudes and put them in the same situation, that don't mean that they bond the same way. These dudes playing for each other because they're like brothers for real.
Why? Because they played in the SEC?
Yeah.
Oh, come on now. Come on. That doesn't have anything to do with it.
Half of the team has been teammates before.
Teammates. Jalen Hurts was with two teams, and they're Georgia guys. There's no family there.
You really do think that Joe Burrow or somebody like that would have the same connection with Jalen Hurts
What did Tom Brady went to Michigan? He won 7 Super Bowls. What family did he have? You're saying that all the Big Ten players that he would have to be a family? I don't get what your point is here.
We weren't talking about Tom Brady. We were talking about who would be better for the Eagles.
Come on, man. There's like 10 people that play from the SEC. There's a 53-man roster.
It's not just the SEC thing. It's like when they in the weight room, you see this dude going on. He's doing the stuff that the other guys doing, exercises with the under the weight.
All right, that may the physicality may bond him with other players, but I mean, I don't know.
I'm saying they're the same type of people, the same type of players. Like they're the same type of culture.
Yeah, I'm not feeling it. Spills, all due respect. Yeah, listen to the Mike Missanelli Show, 97.5, The Fanatic. You're listening to WPN HD1, Burlington, Philadelphia, Beasley Media Group station, broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. What do you think of Spills' argument there? With the family, with the SEC and teammates and all that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't buy it that much just because of the SEC and the fact that he had played with Devontae. But when he makes the point to start, which is, are we talking about building a team from scratch, or are we talking about who's the best quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles? I understand that argument, because that's kind of what I'm saying here is you look at this Eagles team, and why would you want any other quarterback? We're already talking about them being the best team in Eagles franchise history. We're already talking about them being the best Super Bowl winner since at least 2000, maybe even
then why
beyond.
would you take Mahomes?
Well,
I don't understand. Like, your argument is like Jalen Hurts above everybody else, and yet you won't put him above Mahomes, even though he outplayed him twice. Like I don't get what your argument is.
Mahomes has won 3 Super
But not
Bowls.
against
He's been
the
to
Eagles.
5. But Mahomes has won 3 Super Bowls already.
I get it, but he was outperformed by your boy.
He was
in both Super Bowls.
He was, but I know that Patrick Mahomes can perform at the highest level in the biggest moments because we've seen it. I can't say the same about those other 3 guys. They've never been there before. They've never been to the top of the mountain.
Okay,
Hurts
but even though Jalen Hurts performed in the previous Super Bowl, they lost because their team wasn't overall good enough. This team was overall good enough. So any quarterback can outperform another quarterback. If your team is not good enough, you're not going to win.
Yeah, but that's one of the factors. One of the factors of why I'm saying I put Hurts there is because what he's done in the Super Bowl going up against Mahomes. That's one factor. The other factor is the thing that this guy just doesn't lose.
All right. Would you trade Jalen Hurts for Shohei Ohtani? I got this 100 top players thing in front of me. It's like, it's very interesting.
Dude, the Dodgers have what, 3 of the top 10?
Yeah, the Dodgers are stacked. So should we expect the Phillies not get to the World Series this year?
I'm not predicting they go to the World Series.
You're down on the Phillies.
I am. I'm very
down on the Phillies. I don't get it.
But
they didn't do enough. In other words, they didn't spend for Japanese superstars. That's what they didn't do.
My prediction right now is that the Phillies don't win the NL East. They'll make the postseason as a wild card. Maybe they win the wild card series. They lose in the divisional round.
So your window for the Phillies has closed.
Yes, I
think
that's
what you're saying. You've closed the window.
I do not think that this nucleus will win a World Series. I think next offseason we're going to be talking about massive changes.
You know, the Eagles had the number 1 defense, and that meant a great deal. The Phillies have the number 1 pitching staff. You're telling me that they can't get to a World Series and win it with that staff? Same kind of analogy. You shut the other team down, you can win a lot of games.
You can, and I like the Luzardo signing a lot. You know how I am about that 5th starter leading down the stretch last year. But to your point now, to use your argument, you're not pitching 5 guys in the postseason. Now, I get you can move Luzardo to the bullpen if needed in the postseason.
You're getting a seat. Well, the seat didn't matter to them last year.
No, the seat didn't matter. I just think that the lineup has its issues.
Ray, are you out on the Phillies, Ray?
No, I'm not to the level he is. I'll be honest with you. I'm pretty down.
Really?
I sound down with my voice, but every time that the Dodgers did something this offseason, it was a gut punch to me of like, wow, your opportunity was 2023 and you really blew it. I still think the window's open for this team to contend, but I think to suggest to anyone, and I know Dombrowski said over the last week, like, people forget we beat the Dodgers 5 to 6 times in the regular season last year. That's wonderful. You could compete with them. You could battle with them. But we talk about bringing more ammo to a fight. The Dodgers are bringing more ammo than anyone else right now by far.
Yes, they do. But ammo can be shut down because pitching always rules. Oh, their staff's probably better than the Phillies.
Yeah. Well, that's it. They're talking about rolling out Ohtani into a 6-man rotation. They are pitching Ohtani.
They look unbeatable.
They're pitching Ohtani basically as a middle finger to everyone. They don't need to.
I gotcha. I just think the Phillies can make it a really exciting season, and they would have a chance in the 7-game series against the Dodgers.
They have a chance. They'll make it interesting. I'm excited for the season. I'm more hurt about the lost opportunities along the way as I see the rest of the league get better around them. All right. Now, I don't know how much they've improved.
That's fair.
Let me ask you both, because you bring this up about who's down, who's not. How important do you think it is for the Phillies to get out to a hot start this year? Because last year they get out to the hot start, which was kind of different than what they did the prior 2 seasons with Rob Thompson. 1 year was Girardi. Do you think they need to get out to a hot start? Do you think things could start to spiral if they don't? Just like we talked about with the Eagles. Like the Eagles had the collapse last season, losing 6-7. Well, the Phillies kind of had a collapse too.
I don't like hot starts.
So you'd like to see them get out to not a slow start, though.
Yeah, it's slow and steady win the race.
But if they start their seasons the way they did 2 years ago.
They can't get buried. And I think when you get off to a hot start, inevitably there's a wall that you hit. And I'm not so sure the timing of that wall is good for a team. I don't know. Listen, baseball season, it's all we got right now, okay?
I know.
Baseball season is all we got.
Yeah,
I can't wait for this to transpire.
To be clear, by comparison, if we're talking about down on a team, I am very, very up on the Phillies compared to what else is in season right now.
Yeah, and I'll be rooting like crazy because we do need them. But when you say it's all we got, I tweeted this out last night.
All we got,
Mike.
all we need.
Here's what's crazy. We just celebrated the Eagles Super Bowl.
Yeah.
The NFL offseason's underway, man. You could start franchising people today.
Right. Yeah, and we'll follow all that.
Dude, you got the Combine in a week.
Uh-huh.
Free agency's March 10th.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to be talking about free agents a month from now. Less than a month from now. NFL's all year, man.
Meanwhile, the Sixers don't resume until Thursday.
Oh, they're done.
In which case they play, guess who? The Boston Celtics.
That's right. We gave away tickets to that
Which
game.
means the big three will probably be, and the line is only 7.5 for Thursday. Sixer line.
If the Sixers come out in the first game after the All-Star break against the defending champs and the big three looks lights out and they win that game, any hope for you?
Hope for what?
That maybe they could do something this season?
Do what? Hope for what? What are we talking about?
You know who I am right now? I'm Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. You never can count him out with number 11 on the other side.
They go into Thursday's game.
Or 15, not number 11. Who's number 11?
I don't know who the hell
Where'd
number
I get
11
that?
is.
I'm thinking Carson Wentz.
I was letting you have your moment.
Yeah, Mahomes is number 15.
See, that's proof. Today I've been very nice to Bill.
Yeah,
For
been
everyone
nice to
out
Bill.
there, it's like, it's so unbearable how much Ray hates Bill.
It is.
You weren't nice to him if you chased after him.
Yeah.
To tell him about
Well, I talked to Ray's
your
parents
lost
about
bag.
this. They were at the parade. I had to talk to them.
Yeah, what would you tell him?
I said, why does your son hate me? They said, we hate you too.
All right,
I'm only kidding. I made that up.
6320975. Back after this.
The Philadelphia 76ers.
Lines are open for the first time all day, so I'm going to chat up in our day of nothingness today. 610-632-0975 is how you get in, Billy.
Our day of nothingness turned into a pretty great show.
Days of nothingness seem to have a really nice flow to them, where you just talk about whatever on your palate.
Whatever's on your palate. What do you got on your palate? Anything else?
I just got invited to dinner by my boys trying to make it up to me.
Are they going to have to pay, too, with all the gas money you had to use driving 2 hours out of your way?
No, they'll have dinner tonight. I can't make it tonight. Like, all of a sudden now.
Wait, are you sure it's tonight? Maybe tomorrow. Clarify.
Oh, let me read it. They're up in Harvest in Newtown tonight. So if you want to go out and meet my buddies, they're at a place called Harvest.
Is that the chain that, like, everything's under 550 calories?
No, they've expanded their horizons. They have all these bars now that they're really cool places, these Harvests.
Yeah, but that's the chain, right?
I don't know if
there's one in Moorestown.
I believe it is the chain.
Is that a national chain or is it local? I think it's the local.
Well, Harvest Seasonal Grill.
Yeah.
First one I went to was in Lancaster. They put one in my hometown.
Really?
Yeah. So I think it's at
Where,
least
in
local.
Oaks?
Yeah, Oaks technically Collegeville.
That's
but
a
yeah.
perfect Oaks Collegeville type of joint. People need a place to gather. Is it a bar?
No disrespect to the good people at Harvest, but they did replace Champs, which was for me when I was growing up.
Champs. I remember Champs.
Champs was the loaded nachos.
CHAMPPS?
Yep.
There used to be one in Marlton. Now it's a Chickies and Pete's.
We did a show at that one in Marlton for many years.
And now Chickies and Pete's has.
I was all over Jersey back in the day, man.
Got to come back
for the shows.
Well, you may be right though that Harvest is more of a local chain because they got locations Collegeville, Glensville.
Yeah, it's a local chain, but they've expanded them into these gathering places where like the pretty people go.
Oh,
it's like sophisticated.
And your friends are going.
Listen, you don't even know them, and you're slamming them.
Well, Ray already hates me. Your friend's mine as well too.
That's a good point.
Let's go back
we all meet Tuesday nights.
So, did you really have a discussion with Ray's parents?
No. I mean, I talked to them, but not about him hating me.
You didn't? Why didn't you bring that up?
Oh, because I know he doesn't actually hate me.
I was thinking that, I was reading the story the other day of The Breakfast Club. It's 40 years old now, the movie. The Breakfast Club?
Can I say something controversial?
What?
Overrated.
Don't say it.
Overrated movie.
Well, it might not be the best movie, but there's a guy in there that reminds me of you.
Which one?
The Emilio Estevez.
Character? Wasn't he like the jock?
Yeah, the jock. The jock guy is you, man.
Ray reminds me of the other one.
He had his protein shakes or whatever he had out of his lunch bag.
Well, who would Ray be in that?
Oh, Ray would be, you know who Ray would be.
And who would you be, the bad boy?
I would be knowing none of those characters.
The Molly Griswold character? Not Griswold.
Like
what's her name again?
Half jock and half student and half...
Wait, what's her name? Molly what?
Ringwald.
Molly Ringwald. I said Griswold. Like
Clark
Vacation.
Griswold.
Yeah. People are saying you'd be the principal.
Me? I would be the principal?
I just thought that movie was overrated.
I might be the principal.
Like, I get it was like a coming-of-age movie and all that. It was just kind of...
Well, for a guy like you, it would be overrated. But
kind of a boring movie.
Very poignant for others.
Wait, have we ever found out... What's your favorite movie of all time, Ray? Since you're not really
Have
a movie
we had
guy.
that conversation?
I don't know if we ever did. We just always yell at you that you haven't seen anything.
I think Ray has a list. Do you have a list of movies?
I always joke with people my favorite movie of all time because it's always on the
American Pie?
No.
What would be your favorite
movie? That was when I was in high school.
It's always on the flight list of movies is Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Ah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Getting Sarah Marshall. Kristen Bell.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good
Very
one.
rewatchable.
And that idiot Russell Brand.
Russell Brand's in it.
I hate him with a passion. I hated him before he was known as an idiot.
Yeah, I saw
Like, I never thought he was funny at all. I hate that British, rock star British comedian look.
Is that
he played the part well.
Is that a Judd Apatow movie or no?
I think it might be.
Because Jason Segal's in all his movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if it is, though.
All right, let's go back to the phone. Skip in North Philly checking in. What's up, Skip?
What's up, fellas? Hey, Mike. Before I get to the quarterback point, Ray was on a week in between the NFC Championship and the Super Bowl, and this guy called up and told Ray, the Eagles should never go to the Super Bowl because you're going to end up being like the Buffalo Bills. So Ray says to the guy, the point of getting to the Super Bowl is to trying to win. The guy said, no, we shouldn't go. We should never go to the Super Bowl. We have no chance of winning. Ray said, what are you talking about? He said, we're going to be like the Buffalo Bills. Ray said, we already won one. He said, win.
Oh, man.
Really?
It was
was a guy from out of town?
I don't know.
It was like a Saturday before or the Sunday before the Super Bowl. Me and Ray.
Did Ray leap all over him, Skip?
Ray was all over him, man, like an elephant. it was funny, man.
Like a pit bull and a poodle.
Exactly. It was funny, man.
That's a line from a movie. Pit bull and a poodle.
Now, Mike. Here's my argument. I'm kind of on the side with Ray. This is my only thing. I just think if those guys are so much better than Jalen, before Jalen gets the chance to play Mahomes in the Super Bowl, they all have an opportunity to beat Mahomes or the Chiefs, and they have it. That's my only argument. If they're so much better in a skill set match,
but see, one guy doesn't beat a team. You got to look at the overall strength of your team is why the Eagles won the Super Bowl.
But that's how they measure the quarterbacks, though, Mike. It's always Mahomes versus Hurts. They don't never say it's a team game. That's how they measure it, though.
I get it, right? but the success comes from the overall strength of a team.
Well, Lamar comes up short.
Yeah, his team wasn't good enough. They had flaws.
Right. And you look at Josh Allen. The turnovers were down, the Superman plays were down, but when it counted, he came up short. Even though they got some rough calls against him
no, you're right. He had a chance to. Yeah, he had 3 incompletions on that drive.
And our guy got in the Super Bowl again, and Spags said we don't think he can duplicate the performance, and he did on the biggest stage and made Spags, who's one of the greatest defensive coordinators, seem pretty pedestrian.
All right, so you got him as the best quarterback in the league. There, Skip. You're taking him over anybody.
I think he works here. I can't say what nobody else would do here because I think so many different dynamics change when you bring in those guys. Maybe with the money you don't get a Saquon or AJ. I think he's the best quarterback for our team. I can't speak on anybody else. This is the guy that I want here.
All right, Skip, that's fair.
Yeah, that's the fair argument.
I'm not going to argue against anybody. I'm not going to say I'm right and you're wrong. It's personal preference. I want to take the best gun into the fight.
Yeah, but I don't know why you keep assuming that Hurts isn't it.
I don't think his skill set matches those other 4. Now, again, he's just a tier right there. He's not I'm not going to say something stupid like Pete Prisco said.
All right, but as far as skill sets go, I think I would have taken Peyton Manning over Tom Brady. Skill sets alone. But yet, look at the amount of success Brady had. Now, not that Manning didn't have success.
Brady's skill set was better than Manning's. He was a more accurate passer. He just was a better player. All right, 610.
If you just put them up in measurables, Manning would run circles around them.
No, I don't think so. On the other side, Sirianni worship that only Bill Colarulo could find. Only Bill could find this. More Sirianni worship. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. You don't want to miss it. It's the Mike Missanelli Show on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Who's the next OC? I'm Ray Dunn with this Fanatic Sports Update. As the Eagles return to business following the Super Bowl, their first order of business will be to bring a new offensive coordinator after Kellen Moore's departure to New Orleans to be the Saints head coach. Jeff McClain of the Philadelphia Inquirer told Kincade and Salciunas last week the team may look internally to fill that position with Kevin Patullo.
And he'll certainly get the interview. I know that there's internal support for him. There's a lot of people in that building that like him and want him to get that job. That being said, Jeff and Howie are going to oversee this.
We'll keep you updated. Anything going on with that offensive coordinator now? The former offensive coordinator, Kellen Moore, is looking to take a few more Eagles coaches with him. Reportedly looking to interview both quarterbacks coach Doug Nussmeier and running backs coach Jamal Singleton for his offensive coordinator job and defensive backs coach Christian Parker for his defensive coordinator job. He has hired TJ Pagnetti, who served in multiple roles for the Eagles over the years, to a role down there in New Orleans. We don't quite know what that is yet. Phillies had their first full team workout in Clearwater yesterday. They did not have Bryce Harper there due to an illness. They'll continue to get set for the baseball season as we look at what's going on right now. The NHL and NBA both in break. NHL for the Four Nations face-off. The NBA, the All-Star game over the weekend. Sixers back in action Thursday against the Celtics. This update's brought to you by Indeed.com. You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast, easy? Just use Indeed. Start at Indeed.com/credit. I'm Ray Dunn on the home of the 76ers and the Flyers. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Mike Missanelli Show. All right, so only Bill Colarulo could have found this as the continuing Sirianni worship.
Hell yeah.
And let me just set this up. Bill played at a Division III football program. So guys that play at a lower level, they bond with each other. So Sirianni played. What was that level? Was that 1AA?
No, Division III, man.
Oh, it's Division
But
III.
Sirianni played.
So you guys have the kindred.
We do.
It's a kindred spirit of Division III dudes.
But where Sirianni played, I mean, they were a powerhouse.
A Division III powerhouse.
They really are. Mount Union in Ohio. He won a national championship in 2000, 2001, and 2002. As a senior in 2003, he had 998 yards, 13 touchdowns. Battled through injury. His career was almost shortened because he had some sort of injury to his leg.
What is this, a Wikipedia page you're reading?
Yeah. I am. But I was able to find some highlights of our man, Nick Sirianni, catching 3 touchdowns in one game. He's like Al Bundy in Polk High.
Before we get there, did the family drive out there, or did you guys fly to the games?
You remember Al Bundy? He scored 3 touchdowns in a game for Polk High, Ray.
All right, Ray,
I used to tell them all the
Ray,
time.
ask you a question.
I've never been to Mount Union.
Bleacher seats? You guys all have field passes.
Ray, play the highlights. Let's hear Nick Sirianni.
Hold on, Bill. Bus trips to your games, were they luxury buses or were you guys cramped in a yellow bus?
No, they were the luxury buses.
Oh, you got luxury buses?
Yeah, so we had like the bathroom on board and stuff like that.
Really?
We very rarely
did you have to dress in full uniform when you got on the
Yeah,
bus?
we would wear like jumpsuits.
So you arrived at 11 o'clock for a 1 o'clock game? And there was a guy who had oranges?
It depended. It depended. Like, depends on how depended. I don't know if that's a word. We had some games that were so far where we did have to go overnight. But we never.
Oh, you stayed in a luxury hotel?
Yeah, right, dude. Like motel.
All right, here we go.
But this is Sirianni highlights, baby.
Bill Colarulo, Sirianni worship continues right here on 97.5 The Fanatic, Mike Missanelli Show. Kick it, Ray.
All right, out of the shotgun. Adamson, a strike to the end zone. Touchdown.
Yep, that was Sirianni.
And Bruni back again. Fires to the end zone. Caught for 6 more. Sirianni this time to make it 34-0. Burkhardt back. Airs it out to the end zone. Touchdown, Sirianni.
There it is.
So what are they doing throwing at 28-0 lead? 34-0, they're still throwing?
His stat line from that game, 7 catches, 126 yards, 3 TDs.
How come the quarterback? How come he never mentions the quarterback? Bruni's throwing all these touchdowns to him. He never mentions Bruni. How come?
Sirianni love, baby. That's what it's all about right there. But listen, Mount Union is a powerhouse.
Only Bill could have found that in the archives.
Oh,
Ricky
man.
Metallico's disgusted with you. He just walked away.
Yeah, Ricky Bowe was shaking his head. Well, Mike grabbed Ricky during the break and said, "You're going to want to listen to this Sirianni love we got coming."
There he goes.
Do we have who they played? Do we have that information?
I don't know who they were playing in that game.
Ricky's accusing Sirianni of being a stat pattern.
They played Harcum College in that game.
I'm trying to
Was it
find
Gettysburg? I mean, that'd be a great wrinkle of the story if he was.
No, we never played Mount Union. We would have got crushed. We would have got crushed.
Let's go to Nick in Levittown. Nick, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. What's up, Nick?
How we doing, gentlemen?
Good, Nick.
I want to go back in time, Mike. I want to go back to, let's say, 83 to 93 in the NFL. Would you agree that Marino and Elway had the best skill set out of any quarterbacks in the league at that time?
I was a big Elway guy, so I would say yes, Elway, yeah.
I was a huge Elway guy, right? But Marino as well, right? He had the gun.
Didn't win.
Right. But
Didn't
would you
win.
have
Team
either
wasn't
of
good
them?
enough.
Would you have either of them quarterback that 49ers team that Joe quarterbacked?
Maybe. But
You would have taken them over Montana.
I don't know. I mean, I have to look at the requisite strength of the team. You think Marino would have won that 49ers team wouldn't have won? You think Elway wouldn't have won? I don't know.
I don't know, but I don't think they would have commanded the offense the way Montana did. That specific offense.
You don't know that. You don't know it. Like I'll always take my chance with the better player. That's my point. It's taking the chance with the better player. You obviously know the result, so it's easier for you to make this judgment here. The only thing you can control is you go into battle with the best weaponry.
I just see a lot of comparisons, though. I know Joe wasn't the big runner, but he could move it around the pocket early in his day, and he just knew how to dink and dunk down the field and get it done.
He had the best wide receiver in the history of the game. Like, you don't think that those guys, Marino, Elway, might have taken advantage of that?
I mean, they didn't have schlubs.
Oh, they had Mark Duper. He had Mark Duper. Yeah, name three guys Elway had. But you can't name three.
Right off the top of my head, no.
Okay, you can't. You can't.
Didn't he have Smith
You're
or no?
absolutely right. I agree with that.
Joe Montana had John Taylor and Jerry Rice. He had Roger Craig as his running back.
Absolutely. And at that time, during that time, did you hear all the talk about how he has to win because he has all these stars like they talk about Hurts? Because I don't ever hear that. I never remember hearing that. I mean, I know sports talk radio
I really don't know
relevant,
what is your point with that. I don't get what your point is.
I just mean back in that time. I don't remember sports talk radio, ESPN, ever saying.
This wasn't sports talk radio back then, I don't think.
Yeah, Montana.
The scrutiny wasn't the same.
Yeah, I feel like Hurts.
All right, so you're telling me, Nick, seriously. You're telling me right now, and see, it's hard to answer this question because you know the result. So before that Super Bowl game, if somebody said to you, all right, you got a good quarterback, but would you take Mahomes, Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Joe Burrow over the quarterback you have?
I'll tell you right now, the only two quarterbacks I take over Hurts is Mahomes.
No, I'm saying
Allen.
Before the Super Bowl. See, you got to erase that out of your brain. Before the Super Bowl, would you have said that?
100%. I'll take Allen and Mahomes.
That's a
over
lie.
Hurts before the Super Bowl.
It's a total lie.
No, I'll tell you why. Let me tell you why.
All right.
Because when I watch Lamar Jackson, every playoff game the guy's ever played in, except for the second half of this year's playoff, the guy runs around like a schoolyard ball. He's just running around. The other guy, Burrow, he can't move in the pocket.
Oh my God! How could you not say that he can't move in the pocket? He moves all the time. He's not a stiff in the pocket.
Will you at least give me that it's a toss-up at this point?
It's not, Bill. I got it 1 and 1A. I'm not I can't put him in the same echelon. That doesn't mean that I don't like him as a quarterback. He's obviously been very successful. They won a Super Bowl with a great team.
But what are you basing it on?
I'm basing it on the requisite talent of the players that have proven in this league that they are MVP candidates almost every year. Every one of them.
Is there anything that Jalen Hurts does better than Joe Burrow?
He's obviously more of a danger with his legs.
Okay. So he
doesn't throw the ball as accurately as he does.
So Burrow's a better passer. Hurts is a better runner. So that's why I'm saying
Burrow is not as stiff as a runner. I've seen him get out of predicaments with his legs.
But I think if you put up all these guys, you would probably say that Burrow, Allen, and Lamar are better passers than Hurts. I get that argument. But I think when you look at the total package, when you keep saying, I'm giving myself the best chance, I'm going with the better quarterback, I don't know if when you put everything into the pot that those three guys are the better quarterbacks.
Two of them are better passers and as good a runner.
Lamar and Allen.
Right. Mahomes and Burrow have enough mobility to be effective with their legs.
However, Allen is a turnover machine. So not
as much.
But when you look at, I'm going back, and you love my yellow pads, but back to 2022, and you look at who has led the league in total touchdowns during the last 3 seasons, Josh Allen's number 1, Jalen Hurts is number 2. Hurts has played 3 less games than Allen, and Allen has 11 more turnovers. 11 more turnovers during that time frame. So I just think that we can't just say as a matter of fact, like you're saying, oh, well, I'm going with the better quarterback. I don't know if those guys are better. Not when you look at the results. You're just looking at skill set. But that would mean every quarterback that's taken number 1 overall in the draft
better
is better.
receivers and a better running back than any of those guys. You got to factor that in. Plus,
Derrick Henry's not too bad.
He's all right.
Jamar Chase and T. Higgins aren't too bad receivers for Burrow.
What about Buffalo?
What he did this year without a lot of talent around him was pretty impressive. Josh Allen. That's why he won MVP.
That's why I take him. 610-632-0975. We'll get back to, we got more texts and your calls you want to sneak in. Mike Missanelli Show down the home stretch.
ESPN's Tim McManus.
One Mike Missanelli show, Ricky Vitaga just proved that your boy Sirianni was a stat patter. A lot of wipeouts, and Mount Union was winning by like 50. And he's still throwing the ball and him catching touchdowns.
All right, in Sirianni's defense, because Ricky Bo came in and was citing the scores of the games that Sirianni was going off in. They dominated everybody, though. I'm looking at the 2003 Mount Union football team. 40-17, 24-0, 58-0, 66-0, 68-13, 35-7, 55-0, 55-7, 58-0. I mean, they dominated. Every game was a blowout. So you can't hold it against
Premier Division III program.
They really
Gettysburg aspired to be.
They are. Let's see. Who did they play? Anyone? They play anyone we played? You know what's crazy? I'm just realizing. I was at Gettysburg the same year
Sirianni was?
Sirianni. I played.
Were you worshiping Sirianni?
I didn't know who he was.
You were a receiver? You were a tight end?
I was a tight end.
Who was this guy playing for Mount Union? I want to be him.
Who would have thought? Yeah, I played 01 through 04. He played 01,
Hey, listen,
2 and 3.
Let me go to another thing. I'm just reading it. PK Subban, right? He's a very outspoken guy. He's an NHL analyst.
Interesting dresser,
Who
too.
was PK involved with? What woman? He was in a high-profile relationship, wasn't he?
I'm not sure I remember that.
It went bad or something. There was some kind of controversy.
Oh, it was Lindsey Vonn.
Lindsey Vonn, the skier?
The skier, yeah.
What, was that after Tiger?
It must have been.
You sure it was Lindsey Vonn?
That was my understanding.
All right, anyway,
let me look it up.
PK Subban is ripping the NBA and the All-Star game, which can be ripped. It's an easy target to be ripped.
Yeah, they were engaged, by the way.
With Lindsey Vonn?
Yeah, PK.
After Tiger.
Had to be.
I don't know about that.
When did she date Tiger?
They had all the sex pictures that were released from their relationship. Did you remember that? Lindsay had some naked
Yeah, they
pictures
dated
that
from
leaked.
Vaughn and Woods dated from 13 to 15. And Vaughn and PK were together more recently than that.
All right. Well, in any event, he's ripping the NBA All-Star game. See, the NHL's riding high now with this Nations of Four.
It's pretty awesome.
However, this is what PK Subban says about hockey and basketball. I love when hockey people do this. He says hockey is a different sport from the NBA. You can't compare the cultures because of the way the game is played. You can step on an NBA floor and go through the motions. You can't do that in hockey. What was the NHL All-Star game all these years? Well, they had to change because it was so ridiculous that nobody's checking anybody in it. Well, it's the same thing.
Look, they're messing with our cameras. They just zoomed in on your nose on our YouTube thing. I'm sorry. I got so distracted. They zoomed right in on your nose. Anyway, to answer your question.
The same thing happens every 1 o'clock
But
hour.
did you see what they just literally zoomed in on his nostril?
Yeah.
If they would have done that to my nostril with how big they are, you would have saw it in my brain. Anyway, you're correct in that the All-Star game, there was no defense being played in the NHL All-Star game.
Hockey's a different sport from the NBA. You can't go through the motions. They went through the motions for years in the NHL All-Star game.
No.
That's why I love the skills competition. I wouldn't even watch the game. The skills competition is what intrigues me more.
I do agree if he was making the comparison to the NFL All-Star game, the Pro Bowl game. Like, I think it's hard to go through the motions on a football field. Like, if you're going to tackle somebody, you're going to tackle somebody. But in the NHL, you don't have to necessarily be playing 100% in an All-Star game. Like, it's not the purpose of every play in football is to hit the guy in front of you. That's not the case.
All right, so I like the fact. So this leads me to this: should the NBA consider the Nations of Four? It's for their All-Star situation. Would that bring out the competitiveness? You're damn right it would.
I'll tell you what, and now you could.
The NBA players hate these Euros getting all this attention.
Yeah, I mean, with the expanded reach that basketball has now, like you got guys like Giannis and Jokic.
So you got USA, you got the Slavic nations, you got France, and who would be the fourth?
That would actually be pretty cool.
Who would be the fourth nation, Ray?
But as we're talking about this, isn't that the Olympics?
Well, isn't this the Olympics with hockey still in? Nations of Four, they're going at each other. They're teams that vie for the Olympic gold medal.
You're right. And then
so the USA, France, Slavic nations with the Jokic's of the world, and you need a fourth country. That would be fantastic.
That would be kind of cool. I would get on board with that. But they're still going to have to put some money behind it to get people to want to play.
Yeah, not really. Not when it comes to this. American players hate this Euro thing. They really do. They like playing with them, but they always look at it like they don't do the same. Like they're brought up a little more privileged than we are, and they hate the fact that they hate the fact that Jokic gets all this attention.
No, I'm looking too. Couldn't they take the money that they put into the NBA Cup winners and apply that to this Nations of 4 NBA All-Star weekend or something like that?
Yeah, they could do a lot of
I think I'd
things.
be more interested in that than the NBA Cup.
I absolutely would. I think this is a great idea, and I think Adam Silver needs to get off his horse and start trumpeting this, because they keep tinkering with these formats, and it wasn't any better, this little format that they did this year.
You know what? This is actually pretty cool.
I think
this would be really cool.
Four-country tournament for the NBA, USA, the Slavics, France, and who? Give me another country. Spain?
I mean,
Brazil?
you could even make it simpler.
Am I missing a country that's really making hay?
But you know what else you could do, though, to make this simpler, and you still would only have one game? U.S. versus the world. So now, instead of making it like it would be in the Olympics.
They've done that before. This has got to be a little tournament where you get country versus country.
But have they done U.S. versus the world in NBA? I know they did it in hockey.
I think they did Rising Stars.
Yeah, the Rising Stars did that.
I'm talking about with the major stars. I'm talking about Jokic.
I need this next year.
And Giannis.
Because I need sports media to be debating, is it wrong that LeBron sat out the U.S. versus France?
You think LeBron would sit out if they were playing in other countries?
No, the NBA season.
Those guys flocked to Team USA so they could beat everybody's ass. You think that these guys would hold out if they had a 4-team tournament?
More than likely not. If he did, though, it would lead to the greatest sports media week of all time. I'm thinking content related here. I'm not thinking basketball related
Who
here.
would Embiid play for? Since he would have to play. No, he wouldn't play. There's no gold medal at stake. He couldn't be on a winning team, so he wouldn't play for France.
I forgot Embiid played in the Olympics. I had blocked that part out of my mind. I was in support of him playing in the
Who
Olympics.
would be your
too.
starting 5 for the USA?
LeBron.
Well, we just
Would
LeBron
LeBron start? I don't know if he would start.
NBA event where LeBron's going to come off the bench.
I don't know. SGA. Anthony Edwards. This would be. Oh, he's Canadian.
Yeah, I was going to say he's Canadian.
Oh, well, maybe you have to go Canada as your 4th team. There it is. USA, Slavic nations, France, Canada. Now, if you had a team from Russia in there right now, that would be awesome. Get the Russian team in there. This is brilliant.
Yeah, as you're talking this through.
It's a brilliant idea.
This would be pretty cool.
All right.
What's the average age of that starting lineup going to be for the U.S.?
Well,
I feel like it's going to be pretty old.
Well, yeah. Would Curry have to be on that? I guess Curry would be. LeBron would be on a starter.
Well, wouldn't it be your starting 5 from the Olympics, essentially?
They started various guys. Who would be the quintessential starting 5 that would play in this thing?
Yeah,
Curry, Durant.
If Embiid's healthy, I'd start him.
You get KD's to start. See, you're right. You got to start phasing out these older stars, though.
Well, while everyone's debating the ratings and what's wrong with the product, the bigger question is the next face of the league and who's taking the torch here. Because he's been holding the torch for a while.
What, you have the Colarulo season 2 season outlook?
Yeah, the 2002 season outlook for one Bill Colarulo, as written by Gettysburg itself.
That was my sophomore season.
Oh, all right. So this is Bill playing for Gettysburg, the season outlook in 2002, right? What is it?
Also landing at the tight end spot is sophomore Bill Colarulo, who recorded 10 tackles and 1 sack in 8 games as a defensive end, and even carried the ball twice while moonlighting as a halfback.
You played defensive end your freshman year?
So I entered as a tight end.
Yeah.
And then during training camp, I think I was like pretty jacked. Like I was like a meathead. And
no big deal to him.
I was pretty jacked
you've
up.
completely changed.
I was
from that
benching
meathead status. Now you're an intellectual.
Well, I mean, as a freshman, I come in. I'm already the strongest guy on the team as far as bench. That's right.
No big deal
Small
to him.
flex right
How
there.
much you bench? How much you bench,
You
Ray?
know he walked into that locker room asking that question.
Instantly, during training camp, the defensive end coach comes over and says, "What position did you play in high school?" And I said, "I played on defense." I said, "I played defensive end." And then he started me playing both ways. So my freshman season, I was back and forth between playing tight end, defensive end.
Bill Bednarik.
Well, I didn't really play often as a freshman.
How many sacks did you have? How many sacks did you have?
One sack in 8 games.
One sack and 10 tackles?
Yeah, and I played tight end. And then one game they came up to me and said, "Hey, we want you to play running back today. We're going to go with a heavy running attack, and you're going to be our lead blocker." So I played running. My freshman year, I did pretty much everything.
All right, so what are other stats he has that sophomore year?
We just have a
whatever's
quote from the coach on this one.
Just a quote
about
from the coach?
the tight end position.
Okay.
It's going to be a toss-up between AJ and Bill, but it'll be a good battle. We thought Bill was going to be a DN, but because of injuries, we had to put him in the backfield sometimes to have somebody that size and could block. He has excellent strength, and he runs pretty well. So we're going to submit tight end and let him fight for that position.
All right, so did you battle with AJ?
Oh, that's a great one.
Was AJ, it was the battle with AJ for the tight end spot. What was that like?
So AJ, who may actually be listening, AJ was a year older than me, was huge. He was like 6'3", 6'4", like 260, had an insane 40-yard dash time. Him and I,
and he was a Division III player?
Dude, he should have been a D1 player. Really, he should have been a D1 player. I don't know why he played at Gettysburg. We ended up splitting. We would alternate series. So we both played that year. So I was a sophomore.
You got to bring
junior.
into play?
We could do that.
You got
there's no headphones.
Did you run the play in?
Yeah, you'd run in. Yeah. Pro left power 27.
Look at that.
You've branded yourself so well that when you look up Bill Colarulo's stats, more comes up about you delivering stats than you actually having stats on the field.
Hold on, I just found the quote too. Yeah, he has excellent strength and he runs pretty well.
You think I'm making stuff up back here? I'm not that creative.
That's Barry Streeter right there, baby.
What was he?
Appreciate it, Coach Streeter.
What was the Gettysburg beat writer?
No, that was produced by Gettysburg itself.
Oh, it was produced by Gettysburg.
That was like their season outlook on the website.
That's good stuff, Bill.
That was good. That's good research by Ray right there.
That is good research.
I've had that one waiting in the wings for a while. I've been waiting for your.
Now Barry Streeter's son played at Syracuse and then was the offensive coordinator at Syracuse.
Yeah,
Brandon.
That's irrelevant. We don't. Yeah.
Is he going to be on Martino's staff?
Is that really of any importance to the audience?
By the way, this was something that didn't actually make its way onto the parade broadcast that I forgot to tell you. After we had interviewed that guy on the top of the SEPTA station, somebody stopped me and said, "I know John Martino, good dude."
Yeah, Martino got a lot of pub from us.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for listening today. It was kind of an all-purpose day. We had a lot of fun, and hopefully you had fun listening, or you weren't,
And we got General Knowledge Wednesday tomorrow. I think we're giving away Sixers tickets again.
There you go. So stay tuned for that. Ray coming off a loss.
Yeah, it was humbling last week.
Humbling loss for Ray. We'll see what he can do tomorrow on General Knowledge Wednesday. Everybody have a great rest of the night. Hang out and don't get in any trouble. All right? Be safe out there. Mike Missanelli Show returns tomorrow. Thanks, everybody. Good night.